Eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Eat the cat, eat the cat. They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Eat the cat, eat the cat. They're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs. Eat the cat, eat the cat. 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 They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat, eat the cat.
And ABC News did reach out to the city manager there. He told us there had been no credible reports of specific claims of pets being harmed, injured, or abused by individuals within the immigrant community.
People on television.
Let me just say here, this is
the people on television say my dog was taken and used for food. So maybe he said that, and maybe that's a good thing to say for a city manager.
I'm not taking this from
but
television.
The people on
taking it from
television
the
say
city
the
manager.
dog was eaten by the people that went there.
Again, the Springfield city manager says there's no evidence of that. Vice President Harris, I'll let you respond to the rest of what you've heard.
Talk about it. Oh my God. I love her laughing at the end. She's like,
I was watching that. I swear to God, my bestie, she got me new pajamas, a bowl of popcorn, my favorite sweet tea, and some sugar wafers. When I tell you I was camped out, okay, wafers. I did the pregame. I did a whole pre-hour pregame, watching all this stuff, and afterwards, the postgame. Oh my
really?
God.
I haven't seen anything. I have not
God.
seen a motherfucking thing. What's going on, Miss Rain, Seattle? Oh, you know, it's gonna be the first for this one. I've been waiting as soon as it was over last night. Let's go. Just Troy Doe. What's going on? Trisha Tree, long time no see. What is happening? Bridge, what's going on? We even got Bridge in here. What's going on?
Oh my God. What are y'all doing? Don't y'all have lives? What is happening? You bums. You bunch of bums.
Oh no, A Jerk. Your name is A Jerk. It's 9/11. Y'all know what that means. Party at my place. You know what's crazy? Like over the years, 9/11. Well, when it first happened, like they would do this whole like thing every year with like reading all the names of people that perished or whatever. And so like the first couple years, you know, was what it was, but I'm wondering if they even still do that. Like
I'm sure some places still do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some places that do, but everybody's probably not doing it.
Yeah. Zesty Lemon Bomb said, as an Ohioan, I would like to say that all my pets were accounted for today.
Oh, don't spoil it. Shut up.
Shout out to BGTV for sending me that, because he sent me that song. I was like, this is hilarious.
I heard BGTV likes to eat cat. That's why he got that dimple in his chin to hold out them juices. Where all the juices pool up. I heard.
Let me see. Do you like the square or do you like the two circles? They look like eyes, right?
The square is good. I mean, we could do the eye. Yeah, I kind of like the eyes too, though. I like being creepy. Let's be creepy.
It looks better. Okay, it looks better when it's next to the thing. Yeah. So, for anyone who did see the debate, don't spoil it because I have not seen any of it.
I'm not saying nothing.
I keep threatening my dog that they're going to eat him if he isn't good. Hey, Jerks, I live in the whitest state ever. I'm looking forward to this input. Oh, I'm glad. That's the one thing I do like about doing this. Like, you go ask people who are like genuine, or people who come to the conversation genuinely. Yeah. It is cool to hear other people's perspectives. That's what I do. One of the things I do love about doing this stuff, streaming and all that. He calls it flavor saver. Trisha Tree said, hide your cats, hide your dogs. You thought it was sexual for real?
Yeah, I did too. As soon as I heard it, when I was like, eat the cat. I was like, yeah, bitch, eat the cat. Okay.
So this was the first one, right? The first presidential debate
between Trump and Harris. Yeah.
Yes, between.
And this is the only Trump one. This is literally going to be the only one. This is it.
Oh, they're not doing another one? Because I did see that the Harris campaign wanted to do another one.
Yeah, they want to. But when you're done watching this with me, you'll understand when I say there will not be another debate. I promise you it's not happening again. ever again.
Well, all right, Lindsay, you get that
Ooh,
done, okay?
meow. All right.
Trump didn't do well, but it's not the total victory liberals think it is.
Absolutely. Harris needed to be
Well,
fact checked. I'm here for the fact checks on Harris and the fact checks on Trump because they both said some falsities and they
mhm,
should be corrected.
okay.
So yeah.
Well, I mean, the problem with anyone debating Trump is that the bar is so low. You know what I mean? That like it's
It
not
is.
hard to defeat him when
It
it comes
is.
to a debate. So like, yeah, I can imagine that it could be a victory, but not quite, the victory that
Yeah.
people.
I mean,
Yeah,
if you beat up Tink Tink, did you really do anything?
exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, can you
Right,
really flex that? You can't, so
exactly. All right, so let's get started. And this happened last night.
yes.
Americans are better off than they were 4 years ago.
So I was raised as a middle class kid. And I am actually the only person on this stage who has a plan that is about lifting up the middle class and working people of America. I believe in the ambition, the aspirations, the dreams of the American people. And that is why I imagine and have actually a plan to build what I call an opportunity economy. Because here's the thing. We know that we have a shortage of homes and housing, and the cost of housing is too expensive for far too many people. We know that young families need support to raise their children, and I intend on
He
extending.
looks like he's about to go to bed. Like, does
I
he
mean,
not look?
he's 76, 77. He's old.
Yeah,
He's an old
yeah,
man. He's just an older man and he's
yeah. He's
always
an
had
older
that
man.
look. And what the thing is, like, we're only used to seeing him in like sound bites. So when you see him for a long period of time, you really start to focus in on the fact that his foundation doesn't match his ears, on the fact that his like the weird circle around his eye, the wrinkles, the fact that he really do look like he's sleeping. You know what I mean? Like, what is going on? Yeah,
Okay,
you,
I'm gonna
okay.
run it back, Bridget. I'm gonna run it back. Bridget said, "Oh, you should have played the beginning." Okay, so
Oh yes, when
all
they
right,
walk out. Oh my
yeah,
God, yes. Thank you,
okay.
Bridget.
What's so
I
funny, girl? Thank
totally
you, Bridget, because I didn't even
yes.
know about that. Let's
The
see.
stage, Vice President
Body
Kamala Harris
language.
and President Donald Trump.
Kamala Harris. Let's have a good debate.
Have fun.
Thank you.
Just
He said,
snubber.
"Have fun."
Welcome to you both. It's wonderful to have you. It's an honor to have you
He
both here tonight.
definitely
Good
wasn't
evening.
trying to
We are
shake her hand.
Exactly. He tried to snub her. He was
Yeah,
trying to be disrespectful because usually in these debates, you shake hands, you introduce yourself to each other, then you walk over to your podium. He tried to snub her. She took
yeah.
control in
She
that
had to
situation.
go over to his end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and she introduced herself. Hi, I'm Kamala Harris. You know what I mean? Like, she made sure to get
Mhm.
out all of the emphasis on her name so that he understood. And he was like, let's have fun. That's all he's
Yeah.
got. Let's have fun.
Yeah, he was not trying. He was really gonna go to his podium. She
She forced it. He
That's
didn't
good
want to
though.
shake
That's
her
good.
hand. And remember, you
No,
guys
he
have to
didn't want to
understand,
shake her hand.
he's a germaphobe. He doesn't like touching anybody's hands. He really hates that shit. So that was like off top. I was like, point to Kamala, point on the board,
Mm.
because she forced him to do something so outside his character. He hates touching people, hates it.
Mo said, "Thank you for the super prayer. The handshake equals I'm not afraid of you, Trump." Yeah, that
Yep.
was her like assertion, her assertive move. She's so
Mhm.
much more presidential than him. She is like in terms of her demeanor and stuff, 100%.
We are
Mhm.
looking forward
Who shook hands in NYC? Them two?
to a spirited and
Yeah, they didn't
thoughtful
meet up
debate.
again.
So let's get
He
started.
might be saying Trump
I
was
want to
shaking other
begin
people's
tonight with
hands.
the issue that voters repeatedly say is their number one issue, and that is the economy and the cost of living in this country. Vice President Harris, you and President Trump were elected 4 years ago, and your opponent on the stage here tonight often asks his supporters, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? When it comes to the economy, do you believe Americans are better off than they were 4 years ago?
So I was raised as a middle class kid. And I am actually the only person on this stage who has a plan that is about lifting up the middle.
Okay. They
I
went to the
saw that.
9/11 thing. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, thank you for the super prayer, BGTV. Your mama said in chat, Kamala did well. This is cause for a celebration.
It is. I was going to let it slide because I was like, I appreciate him being open-minded to listening to both sides of the conversation and then making a decision. So I appreciate your mama being here, and welcome to the chat. I can't wait to talk to you again. I really look forward to that. And, let's do this.
Bridge said, yeah, Trump got someone else to get her attention so he could greet her. Ah, okay. So I wonder what happened there. Was it just, you think he was trying to be petty at first, but when he recognized that she wasn't going to have it, he's just like, all right, fuck it. I got to act right. You know what I mean? I got to fly straight.
Because he does have a lot of people coaching him. So, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. Who knows? Who knows?
Okay.
The middle class and working people of America. I believe in the ambition, the aspirations, the dreams of the American people. And that is why I imagine and have actually a plan to build what I call an opportunity economy. Because here's the thing. We know that we have a shortage of homes and housing, and the cost of housing is too expensive for far too many people. We know that young families need support to raise their children, and I intend on extending a tax cut for those families of $6,000, which is the largest child tax credit that we have given in a long time,
$6,000?
so that those young
That's
families
good.
can afford to buy a crib, buy a car seat, buy clothes for their children. My passion, one of them, is small businesses. My mother raised my sister and me, but there was a woman who helped raise us. We call her our second mother. She was a small business owner. I love our small businesses. My plan is to give a $50,000 tax deduction to start up small businesses, knowing they are part of the backbone of America's economy. My opponent, on the other hand.
Oh, here we go. Smoke. Mo said, thank you for the super prayer. Surprised they didn't blur his camel toe neck.
The throat. Camel toe throat in the chat. Camel toe throat.
Okay, here we go.
His plan is to do what he has done before.
Before we get, I'm sorry, y'all.
Yeah.
Hold on. So for anyone who is a member, please utilize your membership emojis and stuff like that. I just want to show y'all some of the new ones that I made really quickly so that, y'all know what they are if you can't see them. We have this one, the chunky water bitch emoji. We got the vest because I'm always catching a stray. We got me being a creep for anyone who knows a peanut conversation that will make sense to you. Everybody knows I love pandas, so here we go with the panda eating the ramen, and then y'all know Miss Parkin with her ramen.
With the ramen.
We got the smoke arena one, of course, and then we got the chunky water panda. All right, so
I love chunky water panda.
Aren't they cute? I'm gonna make some
adorable.
more. But you're limited because of the amount of members you have. So the more members I have, the more emojis I can make. So
Got you.
Utilize those. All right, we'll get back to it. No, we just started, John. You're right on
Just
time.
in time.
Which is to provide a tax cut for billionaires and big corporations, which will result in $5 trillion to America's deficit. My opponent has a plan that I call the Trump's sales tax, which would be a 20% tax on everyday goods that you rely on to get through the month. Economists have said that Trump sales tax would actually result for middle-class families in about $4,000 more a year because of his policies and his ideas about what should be the backs of middle-class people paying.
Let her finish and I got you.
Okay.
That's for billionaires.
President Trump, I'll give you 2 minutes.
All right.
First of all,
now
I have
listen.
no sales tax.
Before this right here, there's the first lie. I have no sales tax in my plan. Let us define what a tariff is, because Donald Trump is about to talk about tariffs. Okay, tariffs are taxes on the sales tax. So the consumer eats the cost when there is a tariff. The reason a country puts a tariff into place is because they're trying to ostracize another country that the prices are so high, American consumers will not buy it. So they will no longer bring their products over to America. That's how tariffs work. Okay. We take the cost of that. So when Donald Trump says, oh, I'm going to make the best tariffs and China's going to pay for the tariffs, that's not how tariffs work. They affect us, the consumer. So I just wanted to kind of lay that down because I know right now like the last couple of weeks, people are throwing out the words tariffs and how they're supposed to be so good for the economy. They're not. We don't want them. Unless you have all that kind of extra money. I don't know. Maybe you got brick oven pizza money, but I don't. So yeah, like I don't have that kind of money. So yeah.
Tax. That's an incorrect statement. She knows that. We're doing tariffs on other countries. Other countries are going to finally, after 75 years, pay us back for all that we've done for the world. And the tariff will be substantial in some cases. I took in billions and billions of dollars, as you know, from China. In fact, they never took the tariff off because there was so much money they can't. It would totally destroy everything that they've set out to do. They're taking in billions of dollars from China and other places. They've left the tariffs on. When I had it, I had tariffs, and yet I had no inflation. Look, we've had a terrible economy because inflation has, which is really known as a country buster. It breaks up countries. We have inflation like very few people have ever seen before, probably the worst in our nation's history. We were at 21%, but that's being generous because many things are 50, 60, 70, and 80% higher.
So according to, I'm on the Forbes website, and it says, God damn it, I was just there. Shit. Okay. Economists also broadly believe Trump's proposed tariff plan would hurt the U.S. economy, with an analysis by the nonpartisan think tank Peterson Institute for International Economics, PIEE, concluding the proposal would inflict significant collateral damage on the U.S. economy, citing a range of factors, including decreased consumer spending, increasing unemployment rates, and worse economic growth.
All right. And I want to go ahead and cite that when he makes this claim, he had no inflation, virtually no inflation is the quote. Well, inflation soared to a 4-decade high of 9.1% in 2022 under Donald Trump. And according to Consumer Price Index, while inflation has since fallen to 2.9% as of July this year, most people are still upset because food prices are still higher than we're comfortable paying. So you'll hear people talk about, well, the milk is too high, the cheese is too high. Yes, we're still dealing with those issues, but our inflation rates are going down. And Donald Trump was right and true and factual when he said that the Biden administration kept certain tariffs that he put into place. They have yet to demolish those tariffs. What I wanted to see from her is for her to address it head on, acknowledge, hey, yeah, we do have these tariffs still on the books and what we're going to do to get rid of them. So there's a cat and mouse there. Yes, Donald Trump was right on that one fact, but he is lying about this how tariffs work thing.
Zena, thank you for becoming a member. Thank you.
Zena.
Okay, yeah, that's that. We're gonna try to keep doing this, like fact checking as we go along. If we get something wrong, let us know in the chat.
I was taking notes last night. I didn't even know we was gonna do this today, honey. I was in there. You don't even know. Let's go. I'm ready. I wait for this every 4 years. I get so excited. Like, let's go.
Higher than they were just a few years ago. This has been a disaster for people, for the middle class, but for every class. On top of that, we have millions of people pouring into our country from prisons and jails.
Oh, Zena, no worries. The reason why you were not a member is because I was in YouTube jail. I was demonetized for a few months, so it automatically canceled. I think a lot of people.
Yeah,
I guess there was something
them.
you had to do. Yeah. So I had a few people like, I was always a member. I never canceled it. That's why. If anybody wants to know.
Now we're gonna hear Donald Trump continue the lie about immigration. He's going to use immigration in almost every answer. So I'm just going to correct it now, and then we don't have to stop every time. People are not sending prisoners to America. There is no surge of illegal mental institution, 5-star general criminals coming into the country. That is it's completely false. It's been debunked on every area. The number one immigrant in this country are people who stay after they get a green card for working. After they come in, they overstays. That's the number one reason for illegal immigration in this country. And there is a way to address it, but do not let this man make it seem as if there is a surge of illegal, violent immigrants. Now they're eating cats. So it's just, it's ridiculous. But yeah, he's going to say that a lot. It's one of his favorite things to say.
Thank you, John, for being a member for 9 months. Shout out to the debate moderators, though they did a pretty solid job. Trisha Tree, I just was making content, and something I read is that when they start hitting certain numbers, all of a
Mm,
sudden the YouTube gremlins start looking at their shit and then want to
yep.
fuck with their monetization. So there's that. But I'm back, better than
Mm,
ever.
Jails from
I'm
mental.
glad so many people don't know that I was monetized. It just proves that I'm not
that's
a
awesome.
baby
You're
bitch.
not
Like,
well, you're not important. I think that's what it proves. Like you're really just not important.
I knew you was gonna say some shit like that. I set
I'm
it
just
right
saying, you
up.
set me up. Yeah. I'm
I
gonna
know.
knock that shit out the park. You already know. Don't
Mental
nobody like you.
institutions and insane asylums, and they're coming in and they're taking jobs that are occupied right now by African Americans and Hispanics, and
Black
also
jobs.
unions. Unions are going to be affected very soon. And you see what's happening. You see what's happening with towns throughout the United States. You look at Springfield, Ohio. You look at Aurora in Colorado. They are taking over the towns. They're taking over buildings. They're going in violently. These are the people that Xi and Biden led into our country, and they're destroying our country. They're dangerous. They're at the highest level of criminality.
What do we have here?
Eat
And
the
here
cat.
we
Eat the dog. Eating the cat. Eating the dog.
So
Oh my
the
Wait,
immigrants are taking over. Go ahead,
I
shoot.
just want. I don't know how long I'll be here before one of the little ladies call me, but that cat thing. I know it's coming up later, but that cat thing, that's like a stereotype against Haitians.
Yeah.
yes.
Like they was like, and I have many Haitian friends, and you would tell me like, you nobody eat no cats over there. Now you gotta remember, Haiti's really poor, and if at the worst, maybe if it ever happened, it would be like the people who were like destitute that needed
Yeah.
substance, and they
Desperation.
caught a cat, you know.
Yeah.
But
Mm.
they don't. That's not what they eat. You know. I mean, down. I mean, I remember people making fun of them for eating goat. And I'm from New York. I'm like, what's wrong with that? You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Goat is
Delicious.
delicious.
Delicious, exactly. And I'm like,
Delicious.
it ain't no worse than it's like lambs with horns. That's basically what they are.
Yeah.
But
Hmm.
yeah, but I'm sorry. Okay, go.
No, you're right. Here's the thing. Earlier today, we have reporters coming in and they're saying that it started with a Facebook post. This story started with a false Facebook post. They're investigating how it even got on Facebook. The account that made it doesn't make any sense. It's obviously some type of foul play, and it was boosted up by a lot of Trumpians, you know,
Mm.
hmm
and that's kind of how it's been circulating all over the internet. Trump found it because someone posted it on Truth Social, and
Actually,
he
Mm.
I
boosted it.
heard that was one of the talking points of after they had busted these Russian talking points. That Ohio cat eating shit was one of them. Actually, I
It's
gotta
one of the
look.
Russian talking points. I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised. That's what it feels like. It's one of these weird manufactured lies, and it has
Mm.
racial undertones to it. It's a dog
hmm
whistle. The blacks are coming and they're gonna eat your cat. And it's like, what?
The
But this
foreign
is
blacks.
yeah, this is just another dog whistle to people who are, xenophobic.
Yo, wait. Speaking of, funny enough, because no, I'll give your mama some points since he actually put like John Wick, and he's like, wait till Goro hear what's going on in Ohio. It actually made me laugh, when I saw it. But somebody in his chat, and it was funny. That's so I give
Yeah.
the man some point. That shit was funny. So then I go in the comments. Someone's like, "I live in Ohio, and this is true." I'm like, and I bet you believe vaccines give people autism.
Yeah. And
Like you're
windmills
fucking
Yeah.
kill
idiots.
birds. The
Yeah, like
windmills are killing the birds.
and fucking literally today, and I know this is all like anecdotal, but somebody in the chat in my stream earlier today was like, "Yeah, I'm from Ohio. This is bullshit." Like,
Yeah.
like what are you talking? Like,
The
Mhm.
commissioner, he gets corrected when he brings it up. The moderators do really well trying to correct both of them. I wish they would have corrected Kamala a little more, but they do really good kind of pushing back on the craziness that Trump is spewing.
Yeah,
And we have
yeah.
to get them out. We have to get them out fast. I created one of the greatest economies in the history of our country. I'll do it again and even better.
The
We are
lie.
going to get to immigration and border
Oh,
security
that-
during
that
this
is
debate,
delicious.
but I would like to let Vice President Harris respond on the economy here.
Well, I would love to. Let's talk about what Donald Trump left us. Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment since the Great Depression.
That's a
Donald
lie.
Trump
Pause.
left us the
Right there. This is the lie that I was a little upset with. She has the right
Great
talking
Depression?
point.
Mhm.
Exactly. So it's the point is that he left us a horrible economy, and he did, right? But we also have to factor in COVID. So there's more at play there, and it wasn't the worst since the Great Depression. So technically she's lying, but at the same time, the overall theme of what she says is true. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Like, I get exactly what you mean.
This is why
Like
Democrats lose,
technically,
man.
it may
We
not
over
be
here
true.
fact checking our people, on the other side don't. They're like, oh yeah, they eating cats and shit, nigga. Yeah, making the frogs.
Mo, thank you for the super prayer. If we blur camel toe neck, can we blur BGTV shit?
We got to blur his chin from now on.
And I mean, let's not even talk about the fact that we had the pandemic because he dropped the ball on,
he fired everyone who was a part of the pandemic response.
Pandemic, exactly.
You're fired.
There you go. Thank you.
The worst public health epidemic in a century. Donald Trump left us the worst attack on our democracy
Looks like he's
since
sleeping.
the Civil War. And what we have done is clean up Donald Trump's mess. What we have done and what I intend to do is build on what we know are the aspirations and the hopes of the American people. But I'm going to tell you all in this debate tonight, you're going to hear from the same old tired playbook, a bunch of lies, grievances, and name calling. What you're going to hear tonight is a detailed and dangerous plan called Project 2025 that the former president intends on implementing if he were elected again. I believe very strongly that the American people want a president who understands the importance of bringing us together, knowing we have so much more in common than what separates us. And I pledge to you to be a president for all Americans.
President Trump, will give you a minute here to respond.
Number one, I have nothing to do, as you know, and as she knows better than anyone, I have nothing to do with Project 2025. That's out there. I haven't read it. I don't want to read it purposely. I'm not going to read it. This was a group of people that got together. They came up with some ideas.
Well, he doesn't read. Okay, so Donald Trump doesn't read. So he might be true in saying he hasn't read it, but he has sat down with every single person who took a part in writing it.
The Heritage Foundation said
it's the Heritage Foundation.
Exactly. And he literally talked about how they're setting up. They've given him a lot of ideas for the policies he passed in his first administration. And half of his administration is worked on a Project 2025. And here's another thing. So he tried to move away from Project 2025, and he made something called Agenda 41, which has the exact same
thing. He just tried to change the name. And then if you guys remember early on in this campaign, when he was campaigning against Biden, he would say, there are some people who have informed me. They've given me the best skills. We're working on the best government to put into place on day one. When he says a government to put into place on day one, that's what Project 2025 is. They want to hire so many people to take every single position from courtyards all the way up into the Supreme Court, that they want to be able to change the entire direction of the country. That's what Project 2025 is. He knows exactly what it is. He has had conversations, talks, and visits from all of the people who helped to write it. His vice president, JD Vance, helped to write the first paragraph of, the very first paragraph of 2025 was written by JD Vance. His name is in it. So when he tries to distance himself, it makes no sense at all whatsoever.
So on this article on CNN, six of his former cabinet secretaries helped write or collaborate on the 900 playbook for a second Trump term, published by the Heritage Foundation. 4 individuals Trump nominated as ambassadors were also involved, along with several enforcers of his controversial immigration crackdown.
Boom.
And about 20 pages are credited to his first deputy chief of staff. So I'm going to drop that link to that article. Wherever I find information from, I'll try to just drop the links and y'all could go look for it, look at it yourselves.
Inform yourself for sure.
Yeah. Mo, thank you for the super prayer. Doesn't know what it is, but appoints JD. Got it. Right. All right.
Crazy, right?
Some ideas, I guess some good, some bad, but it makes no difference. I have nothing to do. Everybody knows I'm an open book. Everybody knows what I'm going to do. Cut taxes very substantially and create a great economy like I did.
This is a good question. A jerk asks, Question is, does the average voter know how dangerous 2025 is?
No.
I believe
Probably
so.
not.
Well, I know you guys have
Well,
like a
people
very
who they
dystopian.
poll,
Yeah, go ahead.
yes.
I was
I'm
gonna
sorry.
say, go ahead.
Yeah, go. You no, you got it.
Well, I was gonna say, like in general, I know both of you guys have a very dystopian view because you guys
Because
are on
Parker treats me
Twitter,
like Shanny does.
whatever. Can I speak, please? Can I speak, sir? You're too loud right now. Listen. So, um, online, when you're online in these online spaces, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, it feels very dystopian. Like a lot of people aren't
Mhm.
understanding, but what we have to take into consideration, what we're interacting with online a lot of times are bots and disinformation farms. So yes, it looks like one way, but when we're looking at the polls and you actually look at the polls that are coming in and the statistics that are coming in, people are pretty informed. People are
Mhm.
understanding kind of what's going on. And there's been a really big push the last couple of weeks. And I think what we got like 50 days before election, we're going to start seeing more people, those last minute voters, those undecided people,
Mhm.
get the education that they need, not only from this debate, but because people like us are having these types of conversations. So it takes us sitting down with our friends and family, going out, campaigning. I volunteered a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to do it again, just going out and having those types of difficult conversations. People are open to it, but they're so used to disinformation and they're desensitized by what's on social media. So you have to kind of
Yeah,
break those
that's true.
barriers down.
That's very true. Miss Rain Seattle, you're doing a great service with this stream. Thank you. Look, I know there's a lot of people that I'm not. None of us have majored in political science. Like we've learned these things by looking for new information, by looking for information regarding the stuff that we don't understand. I think there's a lot of people that think that way. They just don't know where to start. And so I think
Yeah.
it's a good idea to have, to review these things as a person who doesn't have the sort of like expertise. But we're kind of learning it, I'm learning it with people. Let me put it like that.
Hmm.
I'll speak. You know
Exactly.
what I
There's
mean? I
always
think
room to
that's a
learn.
good thing.
Yeah.
Right.
I did before. We had the
Bridget.
Of
greatest
course.
economy. We got hit with a pandemic. And the pandemic was not since 1917, where 100 million people died. Has there been anything like it? We did a phenomenal job with the pandemic. We
Lie.
handed them over a country where the economy and where the stock market was higher than it was before the pandemic came in. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. We made ventilators for the entire world. We got gowns. We got masks.
Didn't people not even have like the what do you call that?
PPE.
The
You talking about the
PPE that was
mask? It was a certain type of
yeah,
mask that people were
Yeah.
buying up, and like people in the hospitals couldn't
N95
even get
masks. Right,
Yeah.
people were
N95. Yeah.
hoarding the N95 masks. People, workers in the hospital didn't even have them. Like, and not only that, you flush a bunch of money into the economy, and that's why we're dealing with the
Don't
inflation
forget,
now.
people couldn't
They
wipe
gave
their ass because of this guy.
Yep.
right
Toilet
people.
paper shortages.
I mean, you could
Funny
just
girl,
take a shower, but
thank you for the super prayer. Let's not forget the organizations like the Heritage Foundation have been waiting for someone like Trump, who they can mold to do whatever they want, so they can implement their extreme policy.
I just
Trump,
want to point
you better
out.
name them checks. People
Thank you,
Oh
writing
funny
my
girl.
checks.
God. Peace Baby in the chat. I do remember, and I just want to go ahead and highlight Peace Baby. Anybody else
Mhm.
remember when he didn't want to let people off
Yes.
the Carnival cruise line because it would raise his COVID numbers? There was so much manipulation during his time in office. He didn't want to count people who had died if they also had another condition. Right? If you happen to have
Mhm.
something else, oh, you didn't die of COVID, you died of Alzheimer's. There was all this weirdness happening, and he dropped the
You said
ball. And the
Alzheimer's. Come on, man.
Alzheimer's. I listen. That's what I'm talking. I'm talking. Can I speak? I'm speaking,
which
sir.
which they eventually was saying it was the opposite. Remember, at one point, like the
Yes,
conspiracy was, oh, these people are really passing away from these other conditions, but happen to have the vid,
exactly.
and so they're like, not labeling it correctly. Bridget said, I
Mhm.
remember I had to get fabric and sew my own mask. I don't fucking sew. Like, yeah.
I sewed some mask myself. I had to sew up some mask. Yep.
Mellow One said, not hashtag not going back. Kamala Harris / Tim Walz 2024. Hey y'all, Donald got dog walked last night and it was spectacular.
It
The
was.
jerk says Christian nationalist theocracy coming in nice twos.
I love
Oof.
the look on her face. This is like this look on her face,
Yes.
like this perfect still. It describes the entire debate. He is fumbling, and she's just kind of looking at him like, "What the fuck are you
Wait,
saying?"
can I
And I
make
love that.
Isn't this how we look at cows when they say
Yes,
crazy shit?
yes.
Like, what?
She does it several times, and she'll even bust out laughing at him on some of the crazy shit. It's
Oh,
hilarious.
so Billy from the Geek Room literally texted me. He was like, Kamala like baited, she baited him
Mm-hmm.
many times, but he's like, when he's baited G-Man to say crazy, he's like, I literally made that same face. It was
Yes.
hilarious.
Masks. We did things that nobody thought possible. And people give me credit for rebuilding the military. They give me credit for a lot of things, but not enough credit for the great job we did with the pandemic. But the only jobs they got were bounce back jobs. These were jobs bounce back, and it bounced back and it went to their benefit. But I was the one that created them. They know it, and so does everybody else.
Vice President Harris, I'll let you respond.
I'll give him that. Okay, so he
So-
told the truth there. He created a place where people needed to get jobs when Harris and they inherited his economy. The reason for that is everyone died, you bitch. People died.
Right.
Tons of people died. Businesses closed. You know what I mean? So yes, when everything came back and we started opening back up, there were jobs to fill because the people who had them were dead. So he's right, but he's right for the wrong reasons.
Isn't that how it normally is? It feels like
All the time.
John said the mask crisis was so huge in Canada because there was a discussion about, do we force nurses to work without PPE and charge them with criminal charges if they refuse?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, Mo, thank you for the super prayer. They didn't give him credit for injecting bleach.
Or that horse thing, or the horse
Donald Trump has
antibiotic.
no
Oh,
plan.
you're talking about,
yes.
And when you look at his economic,
Russell Brand is still selling that horse
Oh my
parasite
God.
remover on his site. Like, he's turned a full hack now. He's a Christian and all this crazy shit. Like, God, I mean, people will glaze a certain side when they get ivermectin. Yep. And there's another thing they were taking too that he's selling on his website. It's fucking crazy. And speaking of that, Miss Parker remember when that what was that Odd Talk New Jersey told G-Man to drink bleach and stick a light up his ass, a lamp up his ass to get rid of COVID. He was all on the Trump train back then.
Oh
It was so funny. He's like, drink bleach and stick a lamp up your ass. That was so funny.
G-Man eats apricot seeds, so you can't listen to G-Man. He has poisoned his brain, legit. So he's just
definitely. He definitely has brain worms.
Oh, I think Nova's muted. She don't know. What happened to Nova?
She got that New Yorkian internet. Oh,
I'm
she's
saying
back,
she
too.
just left us. Damn.
I think Donald Trump I think that he sent his people to her
Oh
house.
no. Somebody
that
called
party
Dark
again.
Brandon. Help, save us. Where are you, Nova? Oh, she's got kidnapped. Oh no.
You get
Oh
a
my
text
God.
on of us.
No,
I
my
just fucked it up. There
microphone
you
just
go.
decides to shit on me from time to time.
Yeah. I heard
I'm
you
using
just
my
at the last
AirPod now.
second.
Can you hear me now?
Mm-hmm. Now you sound like I did last week, but I got you.
Yeah, I'm using my AirPod. I might have to. You know what? Fuck it. Hold on. I'm gonna connect my other mic. God damn it! It never fails. Like, what the fuck?
All right.
There you go. There you go. All right, so
it's all
She's
about
like, I'm
tax
slumming
breaks
it with
for the richest
y'all
people.
and this regular mic,
fuck you, man.
I am offering what I describe as an opportunity economy, and the best economists in our country, if not the world, have reviewed our relative plans for the future of America. What Goldman Sachs has said is that Donald Trump's plan would make the economy worse. Mine would strengthen the economy. What the Wharton School has said is Donald Trump's plan would actually explode the deficit. 16 Nobel laureates have described his economic.
Okay, can you hear me now? Hold on. God damn it. That's some bullshit. Check.
Yeah. We can hear you. I'm sorry.
We can hear you.
Yeah.
I was gonna let her keep going. I
Oh,
was gonna let her keep going, but we got a
I'm
stream
over here
too.
like
So.
Yeah, but the
I have to
last time
connect
I
my
tried,
other
you
one.
didn't do this shit.
I don't. Yo, my mic was just working earlier. It's not the mic; it's the cord. I gotta get a new cord. I'll get a new cord soon.
What is
Yeah,
this?
Russell Brand is insane. What was I saying though? Did I read this? Oh, I'm an oldish white woman, but raised by a strong black woman. So yes, I walked my whole life for a black woman to be Madam President, and as a cherry on top, put that old orange man out to pasture. Oof.
Ooh, that's gonna chill down my spine. Ooh.
Mhm. A jerk said Operation Warp Speed was probably his best act as president, and he can't take credit for it because his fans hate vaccines. That is so true.
There you
Yep.
go.
They booed him when he told them to get freaking when he was telling them to get a vaccine. Like they were like, nah, fam, you're on your own with that. Um the witch hunt against Nova, they are targeting her channel. I know,
Yeah.
right?
Your mama wants a link. I don't know if he wants to.
A link for
Man,
what? We gotta get through this debate.
we have to get through this. We can't. Okay, we can't have all your cackling, sir. Okay, there will be a day for you. All right.
Economic plan as something that would increase inflation and by the middle of next year would invite a recession. You just have to look at where we are and where we stand on the issues. And I'd invite you to know that Donald Trump actually has no plan for you because he is more interested in defending himself than he is in looking out for you.
Point.
Just a soundbite. They gave her that to say. Look, I went to the Wharton School of Finance, and many of those professors, the top professors, think my plan is a brilliant plan. It's a great plan. It's a plan that's going to bring up our worth, our value as a country. It's going to make people want to be able to go and work and create jobs and create a lot of good, solid money for our country. And just to finish off, she doesn't have a plan. She copied Biden's plan, and it's like 4 sentences, like run, spot, run. 4 sentences that are just
the look on her face. The look on her face. He forgot. He forgot the word for word and said sentences. He meant to say 4. He meant to say 4 words, but that wasn't even 4 words. That was just 3 words. So all of it was bad. Everything about that was bad, and the look on her face, because she's trying to register this. Like, what the fuck did he just say? What is that? It was delicious.
I
Like
used
when
to sound
somebody
so
says
happy.
an Xbox game is on PlayStation, that's the face. I'm like, what you say? Get out of here.
I used to say I feel happy and safe knowing that I'm voting for Kamala after watching this debate. Not gonna lie.
True. Yep.
We need a regular person back in the White House.
A regular person. Thank you. Just a lady who eats Doritos. I'm fine with that.
Look, and I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna be completely honest, y'all. At first, I was like, "Fuck it, I ain't gonna vote. Fuck it." Biden, he looked like he was shitting in a diaper, and this crazy motherfucker. And then the Project 2025.
Yeah.
I was like, "Fuck, man, I gotta vote. Fuck it." And then Kamala, I'm like, "Thank God, somebody normal stepped up." I'm so happy, Grandpa Joe was like, let me step down. Good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Fuck, man, Jesus.
We'll try and lower taxes. She doesn't have a plan. Take a look at her plan. She doesn't have a plan.
Mr. President, I do want to drill down on something you both brought up. The Vice President brought up your tariffs. You responded, and let's drill down on this because your plan is what she calls is essentially a national sales tax. Your proposal calls for tariffs, as you pointed out here, on foreign imports across the board. You recently said that you might double your plan, imposing tariffs up to 20% on goods coming into this country.
Jesus.
As you know, many economists say that with tariffs at that level, costs are then passed on to the consumer. Vice President Harris has argued it'll mean higher prices on gas, food, clothing, medication, arguing it costs the typical family nearly $4,000 a year. Do you believe Americans can afford higher prices because of tariffs?
They're not going to have higher prices. What's going to have and who's going to have higher prices is China and all of the countries that have been.
That's not how tariffs work, you bitch. I hate this line because you have so many people who are indoctrinated into this MAGA bullshit who really do not understand what a tariff is. I don't know. I remember learning about government in school, And I know we forget about it, as you get older, if you don't use it, you lose it kind of thing. But the fact that the news media is just now correcting him on this pisses me off, because he's been saying this for months.
For a while, yes.
For months, and nobody is sitting down and going, hey, you guys, let's educate the viewers on what tariffs are. It's simple. It's not a hard concept at all. And I hate it. I hate it. China's going to pay for all the tariffs. China.
I love the way he says China.
Rin Suzuki, thank you for becoming a member. Thank you. A Jerk said no one liked the initial ticket. Whoever replaced their geriatric first had the advantage. That's also
very true.
Absolutely. Mo, thank you for the super prayer. One of the professors at Wharton said Donald Trump was the dumbest goddamn such an incompetent businessman. Hashtag where's the transcript? And Miss Rain Seattle says, can we take a moment to give Biden credit for that selfless act of country over party? Biden did.
I do want to give him credit.
He wouldn't do it. Yeah.
It's really hard to be in a position like that and say, I can't do it anymore. He gave us the best 4 years of his life. He ain't got another 4 left. You know what I mean? Like, he realizes that. And to be so humble and say, okay, I got to pass the torch away is what we look for in a president. When George Washington walked away after 4 years, he set precedent in this country where we have to be able to step away. We have to be able to pass the torch on to the next generation, to the next set of people. That's who we are as Americans. That's what makes our democracy strong. And I think in that moment, he was strengthening us. And absolutely, he deserves all of the credit for that. It's a very humbling thing to do.
I mean, and I hope it goes further into them reevaluating term limits and like max age of people who can serve, because you should not be 3, 4, 5 generations removed from your constituency. That's insane.
Exactly.
Bridge, thank you. Bridge said Jamie Raskin and AOC have civics classes online, but the problem is the people who really need them aren't going to take the classes.
True.
That is true. That's very true. Yep.
Us off for years. I was the only president ever. China was paying us hundreds of billions of dollars, and so were other countries. And, if she doesn't like them, they should have gone out and they should have immediately cut the tariffs. But those tariffs are there 3.5 years now under their administration. We are going to take in billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars. I had no inflation, virtually no inflation. They had the highest inflation perhaps in the history of our country, because I've never seen a worse period of time. People can't go out and buy cereal or bacon or eggs.
They're false.
That is false. So it's not the worst inflation ever in all time. If anything, the inflation rates have come down by about 2 to 3%, depending on what sources you're looking at. And again, it's a very complicated issue. Donald Trump doesn't understand money or economy. That's why he tanked a casino. Who bankrupts a casino? Only Trump. You know what I mean? Everything he's touched has literally gone bankrupt. And so he doesn't understand how taxes work. He doesn't understand how the economy works. And he just spews bullshit that is fed to him through his MAGA pipeline. And so it's a lot just conspiracies. And unfortunately, we're learning that this MAGA pipeline is being fed by Russia, which is absolutely horrible. So,
Or anything else. The people of our country are absolutely dying with what they've done. They've destroyed the economy. And all you have to do is look at a poll. The polls say 80 and 85 and even 90% that the Trump economy was great, that their economy was terrible.
Vice President Harris, I do want to ask for your response. And you heard what the president said there, because the Biden administration did keep a number of the Trump tariffs in place.
Now listen to how she dodges this.
Well, let's be clear that the Trump administration resulted in a trade.
What was that question?
Respond.
Okay, so the question
administration did keep.
Go ahead. Yeah.
A number of the Trump tariffs in place. So how do you respond?
Well, let's be clear that the Trump administration resulted in a trade deficit, one of the highest we've ever seen in the history of America. He invited trade wars. You want to talk about his deal with China? What he ended up doing is, under Donald Trump's presidency, he ended up selling American chips to China to help them improve and modernize their military, basically sold us out when a policy about China should be in making sure the United States of America wins the competition for the 21st century, which means focusing on the details of what that requires, focusing on relationships with our allies, focusing on investing in American-based technology so that we win the race on AI, on quantum computing, focusing on what we need to do to support America's workforce so that we don't end up having on the short end of the
I got
stick.
you, Bridget.
In
Go ahead,
terms of
pause.
I can't wait to talk about
Okay.
that. Oh my
So
god.
Yeah.
Bridget
Wait,
said, can
real quick
somebody
before you
fact?
say that,
Yeah.
let's just be honest. The two people that knew what was going on are fucking Canadians living in our country. So not only do we have two Canadians, two quote unquote immigrants, right,
Yes.
working with other people to fuck our country along with Elon. It's funny how they ain't trying to deport them two motherfuckers, ain't it funny?
It's kind of interesting. Now, going on to what Bridget said, like, one, yes, we found out about the streamers who are pro Trump, pro MAGA kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
They're getting, like, Tim Pool getting paid $400K a month, some of them, just to spew this kind of BS. That's one thing. Now let's move into the chips. When she says that he sold chips to China, we have technology and copyrights on technology, and we're allowed to keep those technology copyrights for X amount of time, and that protects the developers from having anyone else copy that technology. That's why we're able to progress faster than other countries. Well, when Trump was in office, his daughter got a shit ton of copyrights in China. That's where he said, oh, we made all this money. Yeah, you and your family made that money. In exchange for all of those copyrights that they got, he gave them the copyrights for the chip manufacturing that we were doing here. And that's the exchange that she's talking about. It's way more complicated than what they're talking about, but it is definitely something. If you're interested, you can find information on it. New York Times did a great expose on it, and I believe Washington Post has talked about it also. There's a few other online sources that you can go on and find, but it's really interesting how he did that. And it literally, he exchanged our technology secrets for his daughter getting a shit ton of copyrights so that she can make ass over end money, which she still has to this day.
Cashapp, thank you for the super prayer. His hate boner for China is never ending, and he needs to get help for it. Boner should only last for 4 hours with those pills. Thank you for the super prayer.
Yeah. And your mamas might be making a stink because he's like, why is Ms. Parker checking Kamala? I am, and she gets checked anytime she lies about something. I'm going to correct it because it doesn't matter who's lying. The truth is what needs to be told, period. And I wish the moderators spent a little more time correcting Kamala like they did Trump, because people like your mama will be able to say, oh, well, nobody's correcting her. See how it's unbiased, you know? So it's like, it's kind of weird.
At the end of the day, that's why they're like, we need to talk to her. Why is she doing interviews? Why? So you can ask her a bunch of questions.
A bunch of dumb questions.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know, yeah. But, you know,
patents,
our media,
not copyrights. I'm sorry, you guys. It was patents, not copyrights.
Yeah, our media is like crazy to the right. It sucks. Even the left-leaning companies are right-leaning, really.
Yeah.
And one more thing about the Russia. I'm sorry. I don't know. I don't know how you control like people that's like from other nations, but I know Tim Pool and Dave Rubin said they don't know nothing. But I swear, I hope they find something that says they do, because them motherfuckers need to be tried with treason. Like all these people that like, yo, did you see Tucker Carlson went to Russia and was trying to show us how nice their
grocery stores are? And
what?
He's paid for it. Well, that thing, when he's doing that, his broadcasting company is actually owned by a Russian outlet. So it's all the information is coming out. There's a huge investigation happening, and I've been keeping my ear to the pulse. But there's so much information coming out so fast that it's just ridiculous.
Wins, he gonna clear all that shit. Yo, our country's just gonna be run by fucking Putin at some point. This is crazy.
Pretty much.
Well, yeah, all these people like that idea because it keeps them, or at least they think it'll keep them in a position of like privilege.
Of power, yeah. Once again, what me and Ms. Parker, what did I tell you? When some of those markers are the end of society, where motherfuckers care about their pocket more than they do their fellow man.
Yeah,
that's when it's run by capitalism, especially like the kind that we have.
That's why we need checks and balances, folks.
Right. But what Donald Trump did, let's talk about this, with COVID, is he actually thanked President Xi for what he did during COVID. Look at his tweet.
Shut up, Johnny.
Thank you, President Xi, exclamation point, when we know that she was responsible for lacking and not giving us transparency about the origins of COVID?
President Trump,
That's
allow
a
your response.
Rosemary.
First of
Now
all,
pause
they bought
really
the
quick.
chips from.
Here's the
Mhm.
thing. Here's the thing. They asked her a very direct question. When Biden and you inherited the office, you kept Donald Trump's tariffs in play. They are still in play to this day. Can you explain why and
She went
how
off
you're
on
going to
other
fix
stuff.
it? And she went off to something else. So I was really disappointed here. I feel like she lost a point with me here because this was a wonderful opportunity for her to explain to people what her plan is
Mhm.
in real English. And she did not take that opportunity. She chose to throw mud at him, which I mean, great, entertaining. I love that. But for information, it was lacking. You did not answer the question, and I don't appreciate that.
Yeah, I do, and I think it'll happen simply because he is such a buffoon. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like to where, like what we were saying earlier, where the bar is super low, and I think what's terrible about that is that then they're held less accountable for things that they should be held accountable for. You know what I mean? Like what you
Mhm.
just said. Fact check her the same way you fact checking him, because then it comes off as it's leaning in one direction and the people are just stupid and they can't see through some of these non-answers. You know what I mean? And people
Exactly.
are put off by government because of, the history that we have with politicians and what they do and how they, sort of run
Yep.
around the question and not approach the things that the people actually care about. So it was a non-answer.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it was a
What's up,
non-answer.
Tanya Land? Yeah.
It won't be
Taiwan.
the
We
last time she
hardly
does
make
it
chips
either.
anymore
Mm.
because of philosophies like they have and policies like they have. I don't say her because she has no policy. Everything that she believed 3 years ago and 4 years ago is out the window. She's going to my philosophy now. In fact, I was going to send her a MAGA hat. She's gone to my philosophy. But if she ever got elected, she'd change
Oh
it.
God.
And it will be the end of our country. She's a Marxist. Everybody knows she's a Marxist.
A
Her father's a
Marxist?
Marxist professor in economics, and he taught her well.
I
But when
love
you
that
look
move
at what
right
she's
there.
done
I
to our
love that
country,
move.
and when you look at these millions and millions of people that are pouring into our country monthly, where it's, I believe, 21 million people, not the 15 that people say.
It's a
And I
lie.
think it's a lot higher than the 21. That's bigger than New York State pouring in. And just look at what
What?
they're doing
Pouring
to our
in.
country. They're criminals. Many of these people coming in are criminals. And that's
Xenophobia.
bad for our economy, too. You know, you
Mm-hmm.
mentioned before, we'll talk about
Yeah, the
immigration
country that
later.
says, "Bring
Well,
me your
bad
tithe, your
immigration is the
wheat,"
worst thing that
all
can
that
happen
shit.
to our economy. They have, and she has destroyed our country with policy that's insane. Almost policy that you'd say they have to hate our country.
President Trump, thank you. Lindsay?
I
Another
want to turn to the
non-answer.
issue of
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
we didn't get to anything. He just went into
Well,
a xenophobic tirade,
that's all
and he's going to
Trump
do it
does. Let's
several
be
times.
honest. He does. It's not just this debate. He does it. I mean, I think he was at a town hall talking to They had a lady. I forgot her name, and she asked him about childcare. He just gave the most insane answer. It was just
Mhm.
rambling and talking about
Mm-hmm.
it. And I was sitting there like scratching my head. I'm literally like, the fuck did he just say? Like I know New
It
Yeah.
Yorkers
makes you
talk
forget
funny
the
and shit.
question.
You know,
A good gish
like Nova was
galloper
talking
will
about
have you
licks and shit
forgetting.
today, and nobody knew what she was talking about except me. But it like, I know New Yorkers talk crazy, but I was like, what is he saying? I couldn't understand it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's Nova's fault. Anyways, go ahead.
Hmm.
What you saying, D? Sorry.
A jerk says, to be fair, Kamala is running a pretty right-wing campaign, pro-border, pro-drilling, and she's talking about strong military. I would absolutely agree with that. This is not a traditional Democratic campaign at all. You know what I
You
mean?
know
It's not
why?
a very liberal campaign.
She's trying to get
Yeah.
She's trying to get the moderates and people
Yep.
and Republicans and all the people that don't fuck with Trump no more to vote for her at the
Well, what
end of the day.
also
Yeah,
she's
but are they ever though? What Democrat really runs on
a
a
pure Democrat
true
ticket. Yeah.
leftist campaign? Yeah,
Yeah, they
they
don't.
don't. They have to appeal to some degree
They
to
have
the
to run to the
centers,
center.
and the centers are gonna want the more like financial. The centers will often say they either lean on the right financially or socially, so they got to hit one
Yeah.
of those markers so that the centers are on board, and then
they also got to grab the poor people that are gonna vote, Republican because I don't know, they got checks or like, there's gas prices went down
Yeah.
or something like that. You know what I mean? So they never really run on a fully left campaign.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
mean, to be completely honest, and earlier today we found out there's been reporting that I want to say 28 or 30 hardcore Republicans have all signed to vote for Kamala Harris. Taylor Swift has come out and said that she's voting for
I was waiting for. I'm
Kamala.
like, come on,
I was
come
waiting
on,
for her to do it. She finally did it
Arian.
today.
He's like
Our
Aryan
Aryan
Jesus. I'm
goddess.
like, come
Yeah.
on now. Yeah, Aryan goddess.
And so
hurry up. What's wrong with you?
we're starting to see those true Republicans that the MAGA calls rhino Republicans saying that they would rather back Kamala because they want to put country before politics, country before emotion, country before religion. They're trying to save the country at this point. So you're seeing very prominent military minded Republicans putting their backs behind Kamala too. So it's an interesting campaign. The next 50 days is going to be really, really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think they see what's at stake. Because
Yes.
let's be honest, these rhino Republicans, they don't fuck with Trump and they even speak out against him. So if he gets in office, he's cutting all their heads off. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
everybody's ass
I
is
mean,
at stake right now. I think people are starting to see it. And I hate to say it, like if you're a Trump supporter, there are some people that's just still uninformed or undecided. That doesn't necessarily make them evil. But at this point, it's like, if you don't see what these motherfuckers are selling, I don't know what to say about you right now. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it's also Trump went mask off. Like Trump said the
Mhm.
quiet parts out loud, and
Yes.
I mean the whole party switching all that. That was all during during a time where it was like, all right, we can't be like, oh, these overt bigots anymore. We can't. We gotta like
Yeah.
hide this shit
Tone it
behind dog
down.
whistles.
Yeah.
And Trump was like, fuck that.
Fuck your dog whistles.
They're from
Yeah.
shithole
You're right.
countries, and they're like
Yeah.
the xenophobia and all that shit. And it was
You know what's
hidden
crazy
under the
though?
guise of like anti-wokeness, and so people accepted it because there was all these conversations about pronouns and all these they vilify people for being considerate, and because a lot of people were tired of that, like the regular everyday people, they were like, okay, we can just slip this xenophobia right there, this bigotry, this anti-trans rhetoric, this black rhetoric in there, and it worked for a little while until until
It
But
people
did.
realized
here's
what
the
it
crazy
was.
part. When he
Mhm.
first ran, he had all that stuff you was talking about, but he mastered in populism,
Yep.
right? He talked about
Right.
how everybody was going to get health care, how he was going to take care of everybody. He was cutting taxes for everyone, like the middle class and everything. He was doing all that, and then his last term he ran for and failed. He just went mask off, and he's even worse now. Like I gotta admit, when Trump first ran, the motherfucker was charismatic as a motherfucker. And
Yeah.
he was dissing all these motherfucking Republicans with the decorum. He was dissing them. And like one thing I like about Trump sometimes, and you see little hints of it now, because I hate to say, I mean, he is in New York at the end of the day. The nigga know how to talk shit. You know what I'm saying? And it was funny. He was getting all these people all befuddled and they all, I don't know what to say about this. It was hilarious. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think that's the one good thing he did for politics, whether people like it or not. And I mean, I like for him not to be in office again, but I do think there was one good thing that he
He
did,
got some
and there was
charisma.
it wasn't only that he broke that expectance of like decorum when it comes to politicians. We got the
I love it.
AOCs, we got these politicians that are not your like cookie cutter politicians anymore. And I'm not gonna say he
I love it now.
single-handedly did that. I think there's also a lot more younger people that are, maybe more active or whatever. I don't know. But I think that was like one of the good things that he did do. Mello once said, can you imagine if any of the high profile politicians said what he said about the Haitian people and that BS lie? They would be
Let the
disqualified,
Democrats
period.
say that. They be dumb.
Oh, forget about it.
Another thing
Like,
is funny too, which you're right. This is why I'm loving her, the way she's running her campaign. They got a whole song to Freakin' League of JD Vance saying, "I'm a never Trump guy. I never liked him." And I'm like, what? I'm like, they trolling. You know what I'm saying?
mhm.
They go on his Truth Social and like show the crowd sizes of the rallies. Trolling. Like she trolls him about the rallies and this one and gets him off his rails. It's amazing. I'm like, get her, come on. Yo, I hope they continue. because it now they, I mean, I'm sorry, the politician of yesteryear is gone. You know, with the decorum
gone,
and the
yeah.
nice suits.
Yeah.
Nah, we got to. I'm gonna troll your ass if I can make people laugh.
Yeah, like utilizing social media and really connecting with younger people and understanding what people want. Like that's where politics needs to go going forward. Um, when Trump got out of office, I was like, good, make politics boring again.
Of abortion. President Trump, you've often touted that you were able to kill Roe v. Wade. Last year, you said that you were proud to be the most pro-life president in American history. Then last month, you said that your administration would be great for women and their reproductive rights. In your home state of Florida, you surprised many with regard to your 6-week abortion ban because you initially had said that it was too short. Men
So for
would
a
be
minute, I'm
great
like,
for
why is
women and
Kamala on the left now?
in American history. Then last month, you said that your administration would be great for women and their reproductive rights. In your home state of Florida, you surprised many with regard to your 6-week abortion ban because you initially had said that it was too short. And you said, quote, I'm going to be voting that we need more than 6 weeks. But then the very next day, you reversed course and said you would vote to support the 6-week ban. Vice President Harris says that women shouldn't trust you on the issue of abortion because you've changed your position so many times. Therefore, why should they trust you?
Well, the reason I'm doing that vote is because the plan is, as you know, the vote is, they have abortion in the 9th month. They even have, and you can look at the governor of West Virginia, the previous governor of West Virginia, not the current governor, who's doing an excellent job, but the governor before, he said the baby will be born and we will decide what to do with the baby. In other words, we'll execute the baby. And that's why I did that, because that predominates, because they're radical. The Democrats are radical in that. And her vice presidential pick, which I think was a horrible pick, by the way, for our country, because he is really out of it. But her vice presidential pick says abortion in the 9th month is absolutely fine. He also says execution after birth. It's execution, no longer abortion, because the baby is born, is okay.
He's saying
and that's not okay with me, hence the vote. But what I did is something for
this is when he
52
starts going
years. They've been
downhill.
trying to get Roe v. Wade into the states. And through the genius and heart and strength of 6 Supreme Court justices, we were able to do that. Now, I believe in the exceptions for rape, incest, and life of the mother. I believe strongly in it. Ronald Reagan did also. 85% of Republicans do. Exceptions. Very important. But we were able to get it, and now states are voting on it. And for the first time, you're going to see, look, this is an issue that's torn our country apart for 52 years. Every legal scholar, every Democrat, every Republican, liberal, conservative, they all wanted this issue to be brought back to the states where the people could vote. And that's what happened. Now, Ohio, the vote was somewhat liberal. Kansas, the vote was somewhat liberal, much more liberal than people would have thought. But each individual state is voting. It's the vote of the people now. It's not tied up in the federal government. I did a great service in doing it. It took courage to do it. And the Supreme Court had great courage in doing it.
Federal law across the board. It should be that it should not be left up to the states. In my opinion, there are certain things that should not be left up to the states, because if there's a lot of if the majority of people there are like undereducated or look at the South. Look what they were fighting for at one point. You know what I mean? Like let's be real. You don't want to leave certain things up to the states. Chubb the Boule said, thank you for the super prayer. Politics as reality TV with reps for the corporation. Oh shit. Damn, I hate when it does that. With reps for the corporations distracting from giving people things they need, healthcare, wages, etc. Enjoy the show, folks. Oh, you're saying politics are reality TV? Reproductive rights are human rights and should be federally protected. Exactly. It shouldn't have been up to the states. He fucked everyone over. Yeah. Like, I don't think that should be up to the states at all.
I would like to go ahead and add, remember when BGTV told you guys the Heritage Foundation helped him, kind of figure out what he was going to do in his first presidency. He would go to these the pancake breakfasts where you meet with all of the prominent right-wing religious leaders. That's what Heritage Foundation is. They wanted to get rid of Roe v. Wade for the last 50, 60 years. It's very true when he says that. The only people that wanted that were the very conservative religious right, the extreme right. And he did that for them. So anytime he tries to distance himself from Project 2025, this is why he can't answer the question. He has to toe the line right now. He has lost followers because he said that he would support a 6-week abortion ban. And you heard them quote him, but he refuses to kind of actually give an answer to any of this kind of stuff. At the end of the day, when you throw something back to the states and you say it's states' rights, you're opening up a very wide door that a lot of things can go through. It is a very slippery slope. When you say states' rights, it reminds me of slavery, unfortunately. And I'm not trying to be hyperbolic about this. I'm trying to be realistic about this. When we fought the Civil War, it was because of states' rights, the states' right to own slavery. And right now, we are having a fight over a state's right to decide a woman's autonomy. These things are not that far apart. And I think it sucks that you kind of have to make those kind of comparisons. But when you think about it in that way, you understand just how terrifying that truly is and how many other laws can be determined that way. How many other lives will be controlled that way just because they live on one side or the other of a state line.
Right. And how much further would that go to? You know what I mean? It's like, okay, first it'll start at the abortion, and then it'll go into birth control, and then it'll go into, these
they want to monitor our periods and our ovulation cycles. Like they want to monitor how many miscarriages a woman has. That's very intrusive. And at no point should a government have that much control over any person's body. Period, bottom line. And all of us should be afraid, because if they're willing to do that to women, what will they do to men? When will they decide, well, this person isn't really an American, so we can control their body too, or this person isn't really an adult, so we can control their body too? It's a very slippery slope, and that's a slope that none of us should be willing to go down at all.
Trisha Tree says, after Roe fell, I got sterilized. That was the only way I could protect my right to not have children. Sad. Yep. Exactly. Let me see.
Yes, and the Supreme Court judges, Chubbs is saying, the Supreme Court judges that were put into place by Trump were handpicked by the Heritage Foundation. He was given a list. He handpicked all the judges that he put into place. Over 200 judges throughout the country were picked by the Heritage Foundation because of their views, because they were so conservative, because they were so religious, right-wing nut jobs. And it's ridiculous.
Doing it. And I give tremendous credit to those 6 justices.
There is no state in this country where it is legal to kill a baby after it's born.
I'm not even addressing that.
Get your response to President Trump.
Well, as I said, you're going to hear a bunch of lies, and that's not actually a surprising fact. Let's understand how we got here. Donald Trump hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade. And they did exactly as he intended. And now in over 20 states, there are Trump abortion bans, which make it criminal for a doctor or nurse to provide health care. In one state, it provides prison for life. Trump abortion bans that make no exception even for rape and incest, which understand what that means. A survivor of a crime of violation to their body does not have the right to make a decision about what happens to their body next. That is immoral. And one does not have to abandon their faith or deeply held beliefs to agree. The government, and Donald Trump certainly, should not be telling a woman what to do with her body. I have talked with women around our country. You want to talk about this is what people wanted? Pregnant women who want to carry a pregnancy to term, suffering from a miscarriage, being denied care in an emergency room because the healthcare providers are afraid they might go to jail, and she's bleeding out in a car in the parking lot. She didn't want that. Her husband didn't want that. A 12 or 13-year-old survivor of incest being forced to carry a pregnancy to term. They don't want that. And I pledge to you, when Congress passes a bill to put back in place the protections of Roe v. Wade, as President of the United States, I will proudly sign it.
So, quick reference. This is something that Trump said after 50 years of failure, with nobody coming even close. I was able to kill Roe v. Wade, much to the shock of everyone. Trump, the former president and front runner for the 2024 Republican nomination, said on his social media platform.
And he said he's been saying it. He brags about it. I think it's one of those things that he realizes now he's trying to walk back and flutter on, but he can't. You're the person who took something away that women fought and died for. We don't, and I know in our lifetime, like I'm pushing 40. I don't remember a time when I didn't have a right to my body.
Right,
there were
neither,
women who suffered for that. And they gave me that. I'm not going to give my children, my godchildren, my grandchildren a world where they don't have the same rights that I have. How dare I hand them a government that's worse than the one I got, right? It's absolutely horrible. And I think this moment right here, when she does this speech, she's killing it. This is the sound bite that shook the internet. It's been going everywhere. This is the Kamala mama moment. She spoke for so many women, and it sent shivers down everyone's spine. This is how she's going to win the election. She's showing us how strong she is, how good she is at speaking about problems and sharing the pain of her constituents. It's a very powerful moment for her. I just wish she would have really answered other questions, but I love this part. I really do.
Look at their faces right now.
Yeah, you can see it. You can see it. He's like, he's not there. He's not there.
No, he's not there.
Protections of Roe v. Wade. As President of the United States, I will proudly sign it into law. But understand, if Donald Trump were to be reelected, he will sign a national abortion ban. Understand, in his Project 2025, there would be a national...
Oh, hold on. Ms. Rain Seattle said, my mom was hospitalized with massive blood loss after she literally tried to coat hanger a grape-produced fetus when she was 14.
So many women. And Stella, right underneath it, there were backroom abortions where women died. It's a fact. And women are voting in droves. One of the highest new voter registration demographics are women. Women are coming out to vote, women of all demographics, of all ages. And I think it really is a time for women to take the country back. It's going to be one of those moments, not to toot my own ovary, but it is one of those moments where, yeah, mama needs to clean up right now. And there's a mess, and we need to do that. And of course, all the dad moms that are out there, all the husbands who love their wives and daughters, all the uncles who love their nieces, they're coming out too. So it's a beautiful thing that we can all realize that, hey, this isn't right. It's one of those things you don't have to think about. There's a right and a wrong answer to this. I understand you might not choose abortion for yourself, like my sister. She has never had an abortion in her life, ever, and she would never do it. She carried each one of her pregnancies to term, come hell or high water, no matter what happened. And I love her for that. That's for her. I've had an abortion. I'm not that kind of person, but we had the right to choose. And that's what's important. You have a right to choose.
That's the important part. Like, I've never had an abortion. I don't. It's not something I believe for me personally, which is why I take a lot of precaution not to ever, get pregnant. However, with that being said, I want the right to be able to do it in the event that something does happen that I'm like, nope, I'm walking my ass right over to get this taken care of. Like, and every woman should have that right.
Well, even in the most mundane circumstances, sometimes it's an ectopic pregnancy. Sometimes it's just medically necessary. You cannot physically carry a child to term. It will kill you. It's in the wrong place. It's not a viable pregnancy. Whatever. You shouldn't have to get septic.
Is, right. I mean, I've had
it's a medical procedure
for financial reasons. They were like, look, I'm a young kid. I don't have my life together. I'm still living at home with my mother. I need to get my shit right. They had an abortion and they never had to have another one. And they did what they needed to do. And now they're living in a house. They're doing, they were able to get a little bit of a boost. But there's so many people that are stuck in the cycle of poverty because they get that right there.
Yeah. Well, and then there's another thing too. When you really sit down and think about it, is there any other law in America that controls a man's body? Is there any law? When you really think about that shit for a second, when anybody tells you, oh,
Right.
I'm against abortion, you don't have to have one. But why should the government be against it? The government has no place
Exactly.
in a medical setting. That is a medical procedure between a doctor and a woman. Period. Bottom motherfucking line. I'm sorry,
Point.
a doctor and a birthing person, because I do want to include all birthing people. La da da da. I love you guys, no doubt. But like at the end of the
Better
day,
hope
it's
Adele's not watching.
I know, right? Birth, anybody who's giving birth has a right to medical attention. If there's no law restricting a man's access to medical attention, why should we have one for birthing people? It just doesn't make sense.
National abortion, a monitor that would be monitoring your pregnancies, your miscarriages. I think the American people believe that certain freedoms, in particular the freedom to make decisions about one's own body, should not be made by the government.
Thank you, Vice President Harris.
Well, there she goes again. It's a lie. I'm not signing a ban, and there's no reason to sign a ban because we've gotten what everybody wanted. Democrats, Republicans, and everybody else, and every legal scholar wanted it to be brought back into the states, and the states are voting. And
No, look. It's like being a parent, right? There are certain decisions that are just what they are. You know what I mean? Like as a parent, sometimes you'll reason with your kid, hear them out, and then there's certain decisions that you're like, no, that is not good for you. We will not be doing that. And at the end of the day, you bear the responsibility of how that, what direction that decision takes you in. But you're willing to do that because you know better. When it comes to states' rights, when it comes to not states' rights, when it comes to reproductive rights, that should not be left up to the states. It just shouldn't.
Yes. Period. It's a healthcare issue, full stop. I think someone in the chat said that. Period. It's a healthcare issue. We do not make laws governing healthcare issues. They may not be something that you agree with personally, but that is none of your concern. What someone else does in their doctor's office has nothing and no merit on your life. And we have to stop with the holier than thou moral high ground bullshit that has kind of infected all of our conversations. It's very gross, and it doesn't have a place, not in intellectual conversations.
And it may take a little time, but for 52 years, this issue has torn our country apart, and they've wanted it back in the states. And I did something that nobody thought was possible. The states are now voting. What she says is an absolute lie. And as far as the abortion ban, no, I'm not in favor of abortion ban, but it doesn't matter because this issue has now been taken over by the states.
Would you veto a national abortion ban if it came to your
I won't
desk?
have to because, again, two things. Number one, she said she'll go back to Congress. She'll never get the vote. It's impossible for her to get the vote, especially now with the 50-50 and essentially 50-50 in both Senate and the House. She's not going to get the vote. She can't get the vote. She won't even come close to it. So it's just talk. You know what it reminds me of? When they said they're going to get student loans terminated, and it ended up being a total catastrophe. The student loans, and then I think probably her boss, if you call him a boss, he's he spends all his time on the beach. But look, her boss went out and said, we'll do it again. We'll do it a different way. And he went out, got rejected again by the Supreme Court. So all these students got taunted with this whole thing about this whole idea. And how unfair that would have been. Part of the
I mean, we did see student loans be forgiven. Was it a complete success? No, it was not a complete success. Can we do better? Yes, we can. And I believe that a Harris presidency will help us do better in that area.
I'm so tired of this shit.
That type of debt. No, I'm just saying when it comes to that type of student loan debt, we're going to be able to see more changes, because we've seen changes already. And so there's just a lot of gish galloping from this motherfucker. It's hard to fact check everything that he says, but you can hear the most outlandish stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I have a question because I went out again. I don't know what you guys heard. Can a president sign an executive order to make the Roe v. Wade thing federal?
Well, it would have to come from the House and the Senate, and so it would definitely have to come from the House and the Senate. And what she said was, once a bill is put in front of my desk, I will sign it into law. So yes, there are people working on that law, and it has to go through the proper channels of our government. When that happens, it'll go to her desk. What it looks like right now is that the constituents in many states are forcing and putting the hammer down on their representatives to create such a law. It's happening, and it is something I think we're going to see in the next 2 to 3 years. I do believe it. Yeah. So.
Part of the reason they lost to the millions and millions of people that had to pay off their student loans. They didn't get it for free, but they were saying it's the same way that they talked about that they talk about abortion. But if I could just get a yes or no, because your running mate, J.D. Vance, has said that you would veto it if it did come to your desk. Well, I didn't discuss it with J.D. In all fairness, J.D., and I don't mind if he has a certain view, but I think he was speaking for me, but I really didn't. Look, we don't have to discuss it because she'd never be able to get it, just like she couldn't get student loans. They couldn't get student loans. They didn't even come close to getting student loans.
How do you not discuss something like that if that's a huge issue right now? You know what I mean? Like, that's like, if you want to look at like single issue voters or whatever, that is one of the issues. Like, that is one of those issues that people are either yay or nay when it comes. So it's like, how do you not discuss that? He doesn't like JD.
Yeah, he can't discuss it because JD Vance said one thing, he said something else, and they're both clashing. Like he can't answer the question, because if he answers the question, and no matter what he says, he loses. If he says, yes, I will sign a law protecting reproductive rights, then he's going to lose all those evangelical votes, which is the majority of his supporters. If he says he's not going to do it, he loses all of the undecided voters who are still kind of wavering. So no matter what he says, he's fucked.
They taunted young people and a lot of other people that had loans. They can never get this approved. So it doesn't matter what she says about going to Congress.
It ain't over till it's over. I'm just saying that.
Yes. It's never over till it's over.
That's true.
Wonderful. Let's go to Congress. Do it. But the fact is,
Zuflu, thank you for the super prayer. I take a civics class with Mrs. Parker University. You're gonna have to do them. What do you call the diplomas?
My little diplomas. So everybody gets their PhDs. I did start a new channel. It'll be launching soon. It's Professor Parker. So that's where I'm going to put all my stupid things like that. So,
is that for years they wanted to get it out of Congress and out of the federal government, and we did something that everybody said couldn't be done, and now you have a vote of the people on abortion.
Vice President Harris, I want to give you your time to respond, but I do want to ask, would you support any restrictions on a woman's right to an abortion?
I absolutely support reinstating the protections of Roe v. Wade, and as you rightly mentioned, nowhere in America is a woman carrying a pregnancy to term and asking for an abortion. That is not happening. It's insulting to the women of America. And understand what has been happening under Donald Trump's abortion bans. Couples who pray and dream of having a family are being denied IVF treatments. What is happening in our country? Working people, working women who are working 1 or 2 jobs, who can barely afford childcare as it is, have to travel to another state to get on a plane sitting next to strangers to go and get the health care she needs. Barely can afford to do it. And what you are putting her through is unconscionable. And the people of America have not, the majority of Americans believe in a woman's right to make decisions about her own body. And that is why in every state where this issue has been on the ballot, in red and blue states both, the people of America have voted for freedom.
Vice President Harris,
Excuse me, I
thank
have
you.
to respond. Another lie. It's another lie. I have been a
I
leader
love the
on
look on her
IVF,
face.
which is fertilization. The IVF, I have been a leader. In fact, when they got a very negative decision on IVF from the Alabama courts, I saw the people of Alabama and the legislature 2 days later voted it in. I've been a leader on it. They know that, and everybody else knows it. I have been a leader on fertilization, IVF. And the other thing, you should ask, will she allow abortion in the 8th month, 9th month, 7th month?
Come on.
Okay, would you do that? Why don't you ask her that question?
Why don't you answer
That's
the
problem.
question? Would you
because
veto?
under Roe v.
Answer
Wade,
the question. Would you veto?
you could do abortions in the 7th month, the 8th month, the 9th
That's
month,
not true.
and probably after birth. Just look at the governor,
After
former
birth
governor of
abortions. Here we go.
Virginia. The governor of Virginia said, we put the baby aside and then we determine what we want to do with the baby.
President Trump, thank you.
We're going to turn now to immigration and border
Right there,
security.
pause.
We know it's an issue that's important to Republicans, Democrats,
That
voters
is
across the board.
So fucking, I am so, this is the part, like I was so happy listening to Harris make her response. I loved it. Thank you so much. She hit all the marks. They did not clarify that there is no such thing as an after birth abortion. That pissed me off so much. It would have taken less than 30 seconds for him to just debunk that. There are people watching who truly believe that somewhere in America there is a doctor hacking up a baby after birth. This is not a true
Yeah,
thing.
they might be watching and being in the chat right now.
We need to talk about that. We need to help people understand that's not a real thing. An abortion is something that is a medical necessity. And when a woman is getting an abortion in the last term of her pregnancy, it is because something has gone horribly wrong. No one wants to have an abortion at the last trimester. Something is wrong. And they have to protect the mother. This is a medical emergency. So when he talks about it and he makes it seem like it's just this recreational thing, it's really disgusting that the moderators didn't put their foot down. But it goes to what BGTV said. The media nowadays, these major media outlets, they're really not interested in fact checking. They're interested in ratings, and getting Donald Trump to talk about afterbirth abortions is great for ratings, you know, and that just kind of disgusted me.
In this country. Vice President Harris, you were tasked by President Biden with getting to the root causes of migration from Central America. We know that illegal border crossings reached a record high in the Biden administration. This past
Thank you,
June,
Stella. I must have
President
missed
Biden
that part.
imposed tough new asylum restrictions. We know the numbers since then have dropped significantly. But my question to you tonight is, why did the administration wait until 6 months before the election to act? And would you have done anything differently from President Biden on this?
So I'm the only person on this stage who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations for the trafficking of guns, drugs, and human beings. And let me say that the United States Congress, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Senate, came up with a border security bill, which I supported. And that bill would have put 1,500 more border agents on the border to help those folks who are working there right now overtime, trying to do their job. It would have allowed us to stem the flow of fentanyl coming into the United States. I know there are so many families watching tonight who have been personally affected by the surge of fentanyl in our country. That bill would have put more resources to allow us to prosecute transnational criminal organizations for trafficking in guns, drugs, and human beings. But you know what happened to that bill? Donald Trump got on the phone, called up some folks in Congress, and said, kill the bill. And you know why? Because he'd prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And understand, this comes at a time where the people of our country actually need a leader who engages in solutions, who actually addresses the problems at hand. But what we have in the former president is someone who would prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And I'll tell you something, he's going to talk about immigration a lot tonight, even when it's not the subject that is being raised. And I'm going to actually do something really unusual, and I'm going to invite you to
Here she
attend
goes
one of
with her
Donald
hitter.
Trump's rallies, because it's a really interesting thing to watch. You will see during the course of his rallies, he talks about fictional characters like Hannibal Lecter. He will talk about windmills cause cancer. And what you will also notice is that people start leaving his rallies early
This
out of
is the trigger.
exhaustion and boredom. And I will tell you, the one thing you will not hear him talk about is
Watch
you.
his face.
You will not hear him talk about your needs, your dreams, and your desires. And I'll tell you, I believe you deserve a president who actually puts you first. And I pledge to you that I will.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump, on that point, I want to get your response.
Well, I would like to respond.
Let me just ask, though,
She
why
set him
did
off.
you try to kill that bill, and successfully so? That would have put thousands of additional agents and officers on the border.
First, let me
He's like
respond
me.
as to the
He does
rallies.
his emotions with
She
his
said
face. Bro.
people start
Motherfucker
leaving.
pissed me
People
off. I
don't
be
go
making
to
all
her
kind of
rallies.
faces.
There's no reason to go.
Okay, say that again.
I said that he wears his emotion on his face. I'm like the same thing. Like when somebody's talking shit or saying some shit to me, I be making all kind of faces, man, just like that.
He got them rubber band lips. He's like, ooh, he pursed them up. Yeah, Taylor Noir called him rubber band lips. Yes, indeed. Indeed.
Go. And the people that do go, she's bussing them in and paying them to be there, and then
Baiting
showing
them with
them
crowd
in a different
sizes.
light. So she can't talk about that. People don't leave my rallies. We have the biggest rallies, the most incredible
But they
rallies in the
do.
history of politics. That's because people want to take their country back. Our country is being lost. We're a failing nation. And it happened 3.5 years ago. And what's going on here, you're going to end up in World War III, just to go into another subject.
Take the country back
What
from
they
the
have
blacks
done to our
and the
country by
browns.
allowing these millions and millions of people to come into our country,
okay.
and look at what's happening to.
We're back to the immigrants. Okay.
She said it. That's why I say she set him up
She
perfect.
called
She was
it,
like,
yep.
he's going to talk about immigrants, even when the question isn't about immigrants. He's going to go off about all this stuff. And what was the question? Can anybody remember what the question was?
No.
Exactly.
No, I don't remember what the question was.
That's the point of gish galloping. Gish galloping is a tactic used by idiots to confuse the listener and forget what we are supposed to be fucking talking about. And he is brilliant at it. He is the most brilliant
very
gish
good at it.
galloper I have ever heard in my life. I
Hey,
thought
not
Ken
me.
Ham was good, but this motherfucker right here, I think
Let
got
me
to go
see.
back like
Let me
maybe
get my
a few
hand.
seconds. Yeah.
Was it here?
Yeah.
Is why did the administration wait until 6 months before the election to act? And would you have done anything differently from President Biden?
Oh, that's
This
too bad.
past
That's too
June,
far back.
President Biden imposed tough new asylum restrictions. We know the
Okay.
numbers since then have dropped significantly. But my
You can
question
skip
to you
forward a little
tonight
bit.
is why did the administration wait until
Okay, so the question was about asylum restrictions. You want me to keep going back, or are you good?
No, I want you to go forward.
Okay.
Yeah, skip forward because we want to hear what they asked Trump right before he rambles.
No, they asked Kamala went first, and then Trump.
Got it.
So he
She
asked
set him
the
up for
question-
that.
Yeah. So she kind of, let's go back.
Conservative members of the United States Senate came up with a border security bill, which
Yeah, she
I
addresses
supported.
it. Yeah.
And that bill would have put 1,500 more border agents on the border to help those folks who are working there right now overtime, trying to do their job. It would have allowed us to stem the flow of fentanyl coming into the United States. I know there are so many families watching tonight who have been personally affected by the surge of fentanyl in our country. The bill would have put more resources to allow us to prosecute transnational criminal organizations for trafficking in guns, drugs, and human beings. But you know what happened to that bill? Donald Trump got on the phone, called up some folks in Congress and said, kill the bill. And you know why? Because he'd prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing.
Oh, okay. All right. Got it. So she's saying basically that they needed something for him to run on. And so he called
Which is
his
a true
people
statement.
in
He
Congress, got them to cut the bullshit, cut the shit or whatever.
It was Marjorie Taylor Greene and all the MAGA people.
Okay, so that they can have something to run on that they knew people were going to respond to, because I even hear it out here. Oh, immigrants are taking our job, and they wanted to be able to take marginalized people and make them pit each other again. They wanted to be able to pit marginalized people against each other.
Yeah, like Black Panther 2.
Yeah.
A problem. And understand, this comes at a time where the people of our country actually need a leader who engages in solutions, who actually addresses the problems at hand. But what we have in the former president is someone who would prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And I'll tell you something, he's going to.
Okay, I'm going to skip over to when he starts talking.
So that would have put thousands of additional agents and officers on the border.
First, let me respond as to the
Please.
rallies. She said people start leaving. People
So the guy asking the moderator is like, what is your response to this, this
The best part.
the bill? And he's like, let's talk about
these crowd sizes. Wait a second. Let me talk about my rallies.
What up, Yato?
You smart, man. That's how you fuck with a narcissist, man. You
Yeah.
know?
Triggered the
Let me
fuck
talk
out
about
of
don't
the
go
rally.
to her
Yeah.
rallies. There's no reason to go. And the people that do go, she's bussing them in and paying them to be there, and then showing them in a different
So
light.
childish.
So she can't talk about that. People don't
I
leave
love
my
that
rallies.
look on her
We have the
face.
biggest rallies, the most incredible rallies in the history of
best.
politics. That's because people want to take their country back. Our country is being lost. We're a failing nation. And it happened 3.5 years ago. And what's going on here, you're going to end up in World War III, just to go into another subject. What they have done
Wait,
to
can
our
you pause
country
it real
by
quick?
allowing these millions.
Yeah.
If we are a failing nation, it has nothing to do with the immigrants. It has to do with this oligarchy that we live in, where you guys constantly give money to the rich and they fucking everybody over. They get all of the tax cuts, they get all of the money. If anybody's getting fucked up, is this unfettered capitalism we living under. It's not the immigrants. But of course, that's what the rich, because he's one of them. So he's going to tell y'all, look down,
Yeah.
look at the people below us, look at the blacks,
Mhm.
look at the immigrants, look at them. They're tearing up the country while they're the ones actually. Was it let them eat cake? It's basically the same shit, you know.
Bridget, Trump supporters on Twitter were even like, don't take the bait. Yeah, he couldn't help himself. He could not help himself. He said, she's talking about my crowd size. I got something for you.
Millions and millions of people to come into our country, and look at what's happening to the towns all over the United States. And a lot of towns don't want to talk. It's not going to be Aurora or Springfield. A lot of towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs. The people that came in, they're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country. And it's a shame. As far as rallies are concerned, as far as the reason they go is they like what I say. They want to bring our country back. They want to make America great again. It's a very simple phrase, make America great again. She's destroying this country. And if she becomes president, this country doesn't have a chance of success. Not only success.
Oh my God, that look, the look on her face is the look that you give your child when they tell you their dog ate their homework. You know what I mean? It's that, oh, poor baby, poor little Tink Tink, bless his heart.
Tink.
Yes. Bless your heart. What did you say about the dogs? They're eating the dogs. What?
But who's eating dogs? I think, you know how much, y'all know how much people love animals. Everybody would have heard about somebody eating cats and dogs. Let's stop.
And I found out, okay, so I was just looking online. So we found out where this story comes from. Apparently, in the state, there was a mentally ill woman who was not on her meds, and she just was not doing well. And apparently, she attacked a pet, and she devoured the pet. This woman was not. This is it was like a very.
Sometimes you go crazy and eat some pussy. Yeah.
It was a tragic situation. The poor lady did not have her medication. It was a medical problem, and she wasn't in her right mind. To take that one story and then turn it into this is just diabolical.
Yeah, it's pretty fucked up. Tanya Lance, I did see this too. They interviewed a business owner who has Haitians working for him, and he said he wishes he had 39 more. Yeah, he said like productivity wise, he don't ever gotta like they just didn't work like most immigrants. Like most immigrants don't want to be sent back to where they came from, so they're not really trying to stir up no shit. Like I grew up. I mean, the majority of my life I've grown up around immigrants, whether they be from Central America, South America, West Indies, whatever. And one thing that I can say that's across, no matter where they come from, them motherfuckers work. They don't stop
Facts.
working.
Facts. We all know about them Caribbeans. These niggas got 20 jobs. They be like, what you mean you got one job?
I want
They
to
don't
fact
play
correct. I'm
no
sorry.
games.
I need
What
to
the fuck?
Yes.
I
fact
have
correct
one job.
myself. Springfield, Ohio officials, and I quote, there are no credible reports of a crime by Haitian migrants. No dogs or cats have been harmed. Springfield, an industrial town, about 58,000 people, has an influx of Haitian immigrants, but there is no report of this happening at all. And I just want to fact check myself. So yes,
You know what's crazy about that? The law enforcement has to check the shit because they know his people are fucking crazy and start going out there blasting Haitian people. So they be like,
I
we
mean,
can't
look,
have pandemonium in the street. Nobody's eating cats and dogs. And we all know law enforcement ain't the most left-leaning organization out there, right? They all okay, we can't let them go out there and start murdering Haitians because now this fool got people thinking they're eating cats and dogs and shit.
I mean, but it's also they're doing the Haitians eating cats and dogs thing, and then they're also doing the Venezuelan gangs, which there is there are like gang members that have like settled in different states and are trying to expand, but it's not any different than any other gang. That's not the vast majority of
I mean, I think our big fear,
Venezuelans.
the immigrants we need to be worried about are these Russian immigrants. And I don't mean like, oh, they're just trying to work here and be productive people in society. I mean people who are coming over here, getting high positions, going to the Mar-a-Lago, getting information. They are paid by the Kremlin. They are coming over here and they're sowing disinformation. The bot farms that are being built every fucking day. Those are the things we need to worry about. If we're talking about fucking immigrants, we need to really talk about what's harming this country. Gangs are a problem and we can address that. But right now, we've got to really be honest about where the danger lies. And the danger lies in the disinformation. And this is just another piece of that disinformation.
Success will end up being Venezuela on steroids.
I just want to clarify here. You bring up Springfield, Ohio, and ABC News did reach out to the city manager there. He told us there had been no credible reports of specific claims of pets being harmed, injured, or abused by individuals within the immigrant community.
Well, I've seen people on television.
Let me just say here, this is
he saw him on TV. He sounds like fucking Von Helton right there. I've seen it. I've seen the video. I know. I saw.
Abused by individuals within the immigrant community.
Well, I've seen people on television.
Let me just say here, this is
the people on television say my dog was taken and used for food. So maybe he said that, and maybe that's a good thing to say for a city manager.
I'm not taking this from
television.
But the
people are on television saying their dog was eaten by the people that went there.
Again.
You okay over there, Nova? Because if you're talking, we can't hear you.
Yeah, we sure can't.
Her mic is fucking up. Hey,
the
so this is the Miss Parker,
dog, aka Dick, is his followers. What?
Oof. So this is the Miss Parker BGTV stream.
Yeah.
How you guys doing? Really appreciate you.
Man. Make sure you eat your local cat.
Eat a pussy, save a life.
Yeah. Oh man, isn't it good when Puerto Ricans leave? You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God! Doesn't it smell better? You can just breathe.
I ain't saying all that.
Hold on.
This chunky water bitch can't get online. No.
Is it better? You hear me now?
I mean, we can hear you, but it's not better.
I'm about to end this shit.
Oh my God. Okay, you're back now. Okay.
Is it better now?
It's way better now. You're in it.
I don't know what happened. I'm using these fucking microphones that are like wireless and shit, and then they just die.
Oh, I never do wireless. Yeah.
No.
Always got a hard
have
wire.
to because my other mic ain't fucking with me no more. So I'm gonna buy. Well, no, it's not the mic, it's the cord. So I'm gonna buy a new cord. I'm gonna order it today so I can have it by tomorrow. It's just the cord. It's just the cord.
Oh God,
I kind of like this mic though. How does it sound? Does it sound
good? Yeah, you sound good.
Look,
you know
what? Eating some cat and or dog.
Mm. Poodle pasta. Yummy.
Oh my God, yo, it's fucking audio
Again, the
issues.
Springfield city manager says there's no evidence of that. Vice
We'll
President
find
Harris,
out.
I'll let you respond to the rest of what you've heard.
You talk about extreme. This is, I think, one of the reasons why in this election, I actually have the endorsement of 200 Republicans who have
Yes.
formerly worked with President Bush, Mitt Romney, and John McCain, including the endorsement of former Vice President Dick Cheney and Congress member Liz Cheney. And if you want to really know the inside track on who the former president is, if he didn't make it clear already, just ask people who have worked with him. His former chief of staff, a 4-star general, has said he has contempt for the Constitution of the United States. His former national security advisor has said he is dangerous and unfit. His former Secretary of Defense has said the nation, the
faces,
republic,
y'all.
would
Look at the
never
face.
survive another Trump
See that.
term. And when we listen to this kind of rhetoric, when the issues that affect the American people are not being addressed, I think the choice is clear in this election.
President Trump, I'll give you a quick minute to respond
Yeah.
here.
Thank you. Because when I hear that, see, I'm a different kind of a person. I fired most of those people.
Oh, whenever
Not so
somebody
gracious.
starts a sentence like that, you know they're about to be on some bullshit. The type of person I am.
I'm a different kind of a
things or
person,
bad-
is what he said.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means. I don't know what a different kind of a person is, but I don't want to know either. Like, you
Yeah.
need to stay over there, sir.
Whenever I hear that from somebody, or you see the type of person I am, I'm like, okay, you're about to bullshit me. All right, let's hear
bad
it.
jobs. I fired them.
Well,
They
you-
never fired one person. They didn't fire anybody having to do with Afghanistan and the Taliban and the 13 people who's were just killed, viciously and violently killed. And I got to know the parents and the family. They didn't fire. They should have fired all those generals, all those top people, because that was one of the most incompetently handled situations anybody has ever seen. So when somebody does a bad job, I fire him. And you take
You're
a guy
fired.
like Esper, he was no good. I fired him. So he writes a book. Another one writes a book, because with me, they can write books. With nobody else can they? But they have done
What does
such
that
a poor
mean?
job, and they never fire anybody. Look at the economy. Look at the inflation. They didn't fire any of their economists. They have the same people. That's a good way not to have books written about you. But just to finish, I got more votes than any Republican
Her
in
response
history.
is great. Just
by
keep it up. No,
Okay.
keep going. It gets so
Far.
good. Just keep going.
In fact, I got more votes than any sitting president in history by far.
Let me
That makes
continue
no
on immigration.
sense.
It was what you wanted to talk about earlier. So
All
let's
she had
get
to
back
do
to
was
your
talk about these
deportation
rallies.
proposal that the vice president has
Oh
reacted
my
to
God.
as well. President Trump, you call this the largest domestic deportation operation in the history of our country. You say you would use the National Guard. You say if things get out of control, you'd have no problem using the U.S.
With local
military.
police, yes.
You also said you would use local police. How would you deport 11 million undocumented immigrants? I know you believe that number is much higher. Take us through this. What does this look like? Will authorities be going door to door in this country?
Yeah, it is much higher because of them. They allowed
Answer the
criminals,
question.
many millions of criminals.
He can't do
They
it.
allowed terrorists.
It's like when he would be asked about the wall. How are you going to get it done? He never answered that. And guess what?
never
It didn't
answered
get
it.
done.
Yeah, we're gonna make.
They
It's gonna be
allowed-
the
What did he
biggest
say?
wall.
He's like,
It's gonna be
how
the
you gonna do this
greatest wall.
Exactly. It's a beautiful
Nobody
wall.
has
We're
ever
gonna get
seen
it
a wall
done.
like this.
Mexico-
We
Mexico's
got
gonna
wall
pay for it.
climbers. We hired wall climbers, and they can't climb the wall. The wall is impenetrable. We're gonna build the wall. It's
We're
amazing.
gonna have
It's
laser
shiny.
guns on it, and the
Yeah.
predator's gonna be there attacking people when
And,
it cross
and
over.
don't forget the most important part is that Mexico is going to pay for it.
Mexico's
Mexico
gonna pay for
laughed
it.
at this man.
Oh
Like,
my
the
god!
president of
Yeah.
Mexico laughed
They're
at
also
him.
gonna
Like, no,
supply
we're
the
not.
predator that's killing people.
Right.
You know, like what? It's gonna be sharks. It's gonna be a moat and sharks with lasers on their head. They're
They're gonna be
killing
the biggest
everybody.
sharks. They're gonna be the best
biggest
sharks. They're gonna be the best.
Not even a great white. It's gonna be a mastodon. It's gonna be a
It's-
mastodon.
Man, Mexico said no.
Yeah. I think that president told him to go fuck himself.
Oh, he laughed. Yeah, I
He
think
laughed
they
in his
interviewed him.
face. It was
Yeah,
great.
he laughed. And he's like, no, we're not paying for that. It's
Common
the same way he's saying that China is going to pay for the
China.
tariffs.
Yes. Jean
Street
ain't listening to
criminals.
you
They
at all.
allowed people to come in, drug dealers to come into our country, and they're now in the United States and told by their countries like
But how are you
Venezuela,
going to get them?
don't ever come back or we're going to kill you. Do you know that crime in Venezuela and crime in countries all over the world is way down? You know why? Because they've taken their criminals off the street
over
and they've given
here.
them to her to put
So what are
into
you
our
going to
country.
do with
They
them,
gave him
Trump?
Wait, pause it. Didn't he say Venezuela was bad earlier? It's gonna be Venezuela, but worse. Didn't he just say that?
He did. It's going to be Venezuela, but worse. But their crime rates are going down because they're sending all the Venezuelan criminals here. And Donald Trump won't tell us how he's going to get them. I need to know how he's going to find
get 'em
all
out.
of these millions of people. Where are we going to do with them? What are we doing?
Where do we start?
And this will be one of the greatest mistakes in history for them to allow. And I think they probably did it because they think they're going to get votes, but it's not worth it because they're destroying the fabric of our country by what they've done. There's never been anything done like this at all. They've destroyed the fabric
But
of
what
our
are you going
country.
to do?
Millions of people let
This
in,
nigga act
and
like
all
it's
over the
Flash
world,
going back
crime
in
is
time.
down.
Destroy the fabric of reality. Don't go back in time, Barry. You gonna destroy the fabric of reality.
It's the blood of our nation. They're tainting the blood. No.
With their
All
brown
over the world,
children.
except here. Crime here is up and through the roof, despite their fraudulent
Not
statements
true.
that they made. Crime in
Not
this
true.
country
Actually,
is
it's lower.
through the roof.
It is
And we have a
lower.
new form of crime. It's called
There was a spike during like the pandemic, but then it's
It was,
starting to go back
his
down.
administration. That was a
It's
spike.
still pretty low.
I don't want to blame the spike in crime for the Trump administration. I will say COVID put a lot of people in close proximity to each other. So you started seeing more interpersonal crimes like domestic violence and stuff like that. And so you can't like completely blame him for it, but at the same time, it did happen under your watch. So yeah, splitting hairs.
called migrant crime, and it's happening at levels that nobody thought possible.
President Trump, as you know, the FBI says overall violent crime is actually coming down in this country. But Vice
Excuse me,
President
the
Harris,
FBI they were defrauding statements. They didn't include
The
the worst
FBI is a
cities.
liar.
They didn't include the cities with the worst crime. It was a fraud.
No, this
just
is
like
this is no.
Yeah, nuh-uh, the FBI, they're lying. I know what's really going on. They don't know. I have better intelligence. I have the best intelligence. Nobody has intelligence.
The most
Yes.
wrinkles. Who has better wrinkles than I do? Nobody. What? Sorry, answer the question.
like their number of 818,000 jobs that they said they created turned out to be a fraud.
President Trump, thank you. I'll let you respond, Vice President Harris.
Well, I think this is
If
so
they don't
rich
come from him, it's a fraud.
coming from someone who has been prosecuted for national security crimes.
Tell me she didn't get him. Tell me she didn't just get him. She said, I think this is rich. Coming from somebody who's been prosecuted for national security crimes. You talking about rounding up illegal immigrants and them causing crime? Bitch, don't you have 32 cases? Wait a second.
Somebody fire Tulsi Gabbard because she did not help him in his debate. So she's supposed to be one of the people that helped him. Like, fire her ass.
Is she?
Look at your brown ass.
Yeah,
You didn't help
she
me.
got off the plane with them for the debate. It's great.
Oh,
Yeah.
You probably like Stephen
Tulsi.
Miller. Why'd you tell me this brown bitch didn't?
Miller,
was
too.
a shit.
She's such a disappointment to me because when I first ever heard her speak, I was like, oh shit. All right, you know what I mean? Like some of what I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, she's another grifter.
And then I found out, then I heard her speak again, and I was like, oh fuck.
Listen just a little longer. Yep. That's how Sarah Palin got people. Everybody was like, oh, she's intelligent. I like her accent. And then the bitch is talking about, I see Russia from my backyard. Bitch, what? And so you got to let them talk a little bit sometimes to really get a feel for it.
Let people talk enough. That crazy bitch Laura Loomer helped him to blame her for the cats.
Yo, Laura Loomer looks like
insane.
she looks like the Baba Yaga. You ever seen her?
No,
face?
she looks like
She's
sexy
not looking
Squidward. She looks like sexy Squidward to me. The bitch is like chiseled. Her face is chiseled.
She scares me.
Miss
She looks like
Rain,
one of the
Seattle.
masks from The Purge. I swear.
Thank you for the super prayer. Can you close the stream with Pussy Riot? Make America Great Again? What's that?
Yes.
Oh,
Okay.
Pussy
So
Riot is a Russian
go ahead.
band. They're like anti-fascist. Yeah, they're pretty dope.
they were arrested by Putin
No.
twice now. They were put into prison because they did a song against against Putin, and I'll find it for you. So yes,
Okay.
I think we should. It'll be
Surprised
really
it's still
fitting.
alive. It's probably because
Yeah,
they're famous.
they. Yeah,
All right,
I
we'll
got
play
you. I'll
it.
find it.
Economic crimes, election interference, has been found liable for sexual assault, and his next big court appearance is in November at his own criminal sentencing. And let's be clear where each person stands on the issue of what is important about respect for the rule of law and respect for law enforcement. The former vice president called for defunding federal law enforcement, 45,000 agents, get this, on the day after he was arraigned on 34 felony counts. So let's talk about what is important in this race. It is important that we move forward, that we turn the page on this same old tired rhetoric and address the needs of the American people, address what we need to do about the housing shortage, which I have a plan for, address what we must do to support our small businesses, address bringing down the price of groceries. But frankly, the American people are exhausted with this same old tired playbook.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
Excuse me. Every one of those cases was started by them against their political opponent. And I'm winning most of them, and I will win the rest on appeal. And you saw that with the decision that came down just recently from the Supreme Court. I'm winning most of them. But those are cases, it's called weaponization. Never happened in this country. They weaponized the Justice Department. Every one of those cases was involved with the DOJ, from Atlanta and Fani Willis to the Attorney General of New York and the DA in New York. Every one of those cases. And then they say, oh, he's a criminal. They're the ones that made them go after me. By the way, Joe Biden was found essentially guilty on the documents case. And what happened in my documents case? They said, oh, that
He still hasn't answered the question.
And he
that
won't.
she originally asked.
She fucked. They told her, wait, just wait, give it a second, and hit him with that rally. That
Let
was
him
the
cook.
first strike.
Yep.
Now this one, the him being a criminal, that was a straight right. And then
If you pay attention, his lips start sweating.
and moving, he's moving, tilting his head back and forth. Yeah, she done got him off his right. He's fucked right now. He's just in like a brain fog right now. He can't. He's like this the rest of the debate. He doesn't say.
Well, there's a good screenshot too.
Not that he started better, but like he wasn't this crazy. Now he's like off his rocker.
Well, yeah, his ego. Once his ego is hit, he has a hard time recovering.
Right?
I mean, like most people who
might as well be like a hooker. Tell him his dick is small, and he's like, "Oh, what?" and he just goes off. This is the biggest dick you've ever seen. It's huge. It's huge.
Look at it.
Complete and total victory. 2 months ago, it was thrown out. It's weaponization, and they used it, and it's never happened in this country. They used it to try and win an election. They're fake cases.
President Trump, thank you. A really quick response here, Vice President Harris, on this notion of weaponization.
So he's talking about how the DOJ was weaponized against him. But if you read his like tweets and Truth Social shit, he's saying he wants to do the same thing when he gets in court. He wants a military tribunal for Bush Cheney. He wants to put Obama in jail and Biden. So he's like,
Obama.
Yes.
With Obama.
The day
He don't like Obama.
Oh,
he hates Obama.
Some people say if Obama never made fun of him, we wouldn't even be here right now. You know?
Yeah,
it broke his spirit.
Yeah, because you fucked with his little ego and he got mad. All right, nigga, I can't be president, nigga. But anyways, so the day after the DNC where Obama was making fun of his dick, he had like a thing with him and a bunch of other people, like this AI image. They was all in prison. So that's what I'm saying. Like he wants to do the exact same thing.
Well, a lot of these folks love Law and Order until they have to come in contact. Until it's like,
Oh, would you say that everybody wants to be a nigga till it's time to be a nigga?
Hey.
And someone needs to remind him that he's trying to take a black man's job. You know what I mean? Like, this president is a black job, and he needs, he's trying to take a black job, and he needs to stand down. You know what I mean? And stand by. Just stand down and stand by.
Funny enough, real quick, I know this is a little bit off topic, but that dude, one of the dudes from Fresh and Fit, went into like a
He got kicked
Republic.
out, Myron.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yep.
He got his nigga wake up call. Let's get your black ass up out of here. You know, I love when the nigga get. Shout out to Paul Mooney. I love when the nigga get his wake up call. Wake up, nigga. You know,
Message.
yeah.
Justice Department.
Well, let's talk about extreme and understand the context in which this election in 2024 is taking place. The United States Supreme Court recently ruled that the former president would essentially be immune from any misconduct if he were to enter the White House again. Understand, this is someone who has openly said he would terminate, I'm quoting, terminate the Constitution of the United States, that he would weaponize the Department of Justice against his political enemies. Someone who has openly expressed
Look at him
disdain
seething. He
for
don't know what to
members
do with
of our
himself.
military. Understand.
Where's that like talk shit get hit moment? You know what I mean? Like when people
Yes.
learn, like you talked all that shit and now you got paid for it. That's exactly what he.
Yeah,
Calling
that
all
look
kind
on
of
his
gorilla
face.
monkey niggas under his breath and shit.
He can't take it. His poor little lips are so pursed together. Look at him. Just looking just horrible. Oh.
What it would mean if Donald Trump were back in the White House with no guardrails, because certainly we know now the court won't stop him. We know J.D. Vance is not going to stop him. It's up to the American people
Vice
to
President
stop
Harris.
him.
Thank you. Lindsay?
Vice President Harris, in your last run for president.
This is the one that weaponized, not me. She weaponized. I probably took a bullet to the head because of the things that they say about me. They talk about democracy. I'm a threat to democracy.
Wow.
They're the threat to democracy with a
President
fake Russia
We
investigation
do have a lot to
that
get
went
to.
nowhere.
We have a lot to get to. Lindsay?
Vice
It
President
went
Harris, in your
nowhere. We just found like streamers that were caught taking donations and shit.
Huge
For
donations.
Yeah, for pushing bullshit. Like are you kidding me?
Judges. We are finding that all the information is finally coming out. The only thing I'm mad about is that the Intelligence Bureau has had this information for a while, and I'm pissed that they didn't come out with it sooner. That's what makes me mad, is because we've known this stuff for a while, and it's just, you don't wait till the last minute. We don't wait till the fucking 11th hour to start telling people the fucking truth about what's going on around them. But yeah, all the information is coming out full circle, just like with the Epstein files. Nobody wants to talk about the fact that he's on all of the fucking flight lists, that he has taken multiple trips there. No one wants to talk about the fact that during one of the trials for Epstein, a young victim who was not named, her name was changed because she was underage at the time, reported being assaulted by Donald Trump multiple times on Epstein Island. It is out there. The information, you can get it. Read the documents for yourself. They're heart-wrenching. So what kills me is the media is not holding him to task. They're not holding him to what he has actually done, what we know. Not all this bullshit, filibustering bullshit. No, bitch, talk to me. Why were you at Epstein Island? Why are you buddying up with judges who are taking money from Russian oligarchs? Why do you have Russian oligarchs who are in the pocket of the Kremlin at your fucking Mar-a-Lago resort? Why are you charging the FBI triple the cost per night to protect your bitch ass at your resort, but we're not supposed to be making money off the presidency? Why is your name on an American flag being sold for $84 fucking dollars on your website? All of those things are treasonous, bitch. Like, that's what we need to talk about. But no, we're not going to talk about it. Let's keep talking about the fucking dogs. Whatever.
Crowd size. Bridge, I need one of those body language analysis YouTubers to analyze this. If you find one, send it to me, because I do enjoy those. Why is he using Epstein's plane right now? Is he?
Yes. Okay. So that's an interesting story. The plane that he is in right now, Trump Force One, is a decommissioned Epstein plane. That is Epstein's plane. Why do you have your friend's plane? And remember, Donald Trump's the one who said, me and Epstein are good friends. We go way back. We party all the time. He likes women on the younger side. That's the person we're talking about.
God. Epstein loves to party all the time.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Your last run for president, you said you wanted to ban fracking. Now you don't. You wanted mandatory government.
People to
Bridget.
Bridget, you know all they're gonna say is, see, Trump pursed his lips here. I mean, this is a stressor. And that's all they're gonna say. Everything you do is a fucking stressor. I swear, I was watching this, And like
Mhm.
people, like I would just go to the comments of this one guy, like, and everybody's like, "This is a stressor." Like they would just say that in the chat. It was so funny.
Mhm.
Some of them are good. Some of them are good. You got to
No,
get it
they
real
are.
good.
No, I like them.
Yeah.
I'm just joking.
That's a tell.
Government buyback programs for assault weapons. Now your campaign says you don't. You supported decriminalizing border crossings. Now you're taking a harder line. I know you say that your values have not changed. So then why have so many of your policy positions changed?
So my values have not changed, and I'm going to discuss at least every point that you've made. But in particular, let's talk about fracking because we're here in Pennsylvania. I made that very clear in 2020. I will not ban fracking. I have not banned fracking as Vice President of the United States.
Go
And in fact,
directly to the
I
question.
was the tie-breaking vote on the Inflation Reduction Act.
Wait,
which
let's go back. I'm sorry. I missed
So
that.
yeah, go to the question, listen to what they're asking her and how she
She
redirects
has
to
flip flopped
fracking.
on a couple of things.
And
She has.
exactly. They're trying to hold her down on the way that she flip-flops on certain issues, and she has.
Mhm.
Again, most politicians do. Let's be completely honest.
Yeah.
As they're in the office for a long time, they're persuaded, they move sides. Sometimes they're convinced to do something different. All she had to do was directly answer that question, and I think she loses points here because instead of answering the question outright, she tosses back to Donald Trump and she wants to answer what he said. Never be on the defense with this bitch. Ever. You don't have to
Well,
respond to him.
well,
You answer the questions.
okay,
Right,
I'll give
right.
you this if we're just being, if we're just talking about the truth, she
Yes.
fails. But if you're talking about a debate, she did the right thing.
Oh, she
pivoted that shit
Mhm.
right back to his ass, pisses him off, and then he starts going crazy again. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So,
she's triggering him.
yes,
Yeah,
because
she's
she flipped off on Medicare for all. She flipped off on fracking. She flipped off on a few things, and it sucks, but and I you got to I'll give them points for pressing her on that. You know what I'm saying? I think both parties should be pressed, but she's smart for like pivoting that shit. Like, nah, nigga, Donald Trump's a
So
bitch.
you'll give
And
her
you're
a
like, what
point
you
for
mean?
that?
And then he starts going on.
Got you.
You don't. You supported decriminalizing border crossings. Now you're taking a harder line. I know you say that your values have not changed. So then why have so many of your policy positions changed?
So my values have not changed, and I'm going to discuss at least every point that you've made. But in particular, let's talk about fracking because we're here in Pennsylvania. I made that very clear in 2020. I will not ban fracking. I have not banned fracking as Vice President of the United States. And in fact, I was the tie-breaking vote on the Inflation Reduction Act, which opened new leases for fracking. My position is that we have got to invest in diverse sources of energy so we reduce our reliance on foreign oil. We have had the largest increase in domestic oil production in history because of an approach that recognizes that we cannot over-rely on foreign oil. As it relates to my values, let me tell you, I grew up a middle-class kid raised by a hardworking mother who worked and saved and was able to buy our first home when I was a teenager. The values I bring to the importance of home ownership, knowing not everybody got handed $400 million on a silver platter and then filed bankruptcy 6 times, is a value that I bring to my work to say we are going to work with the private sector and home builders to increase 3 million homes, increase by 3 million homes by the end of my first term. My work that is related to having a friend when I was in high school who was sexually assaulted by her stepfather. And my focus then on protecting women and children from violent crime is based on a value that is deeply grounded in the importance of standing up for those who are most vulnerable. My work that is about protecting Social Security and Medicare is based on longstanding work that I have done, protecting seniors from scams. My values have not changed. And what is important is that there is a president who actually brings values and a perspective that is about lifting people up and not beating people down and name calling. The true measure of the leader is the leader who actually understands the strength is not in beating people down, it's in lifting people up. I intend to be that president.
President Trump, your
Well, first of
response?
all, I wasn't given $400 million. I wish I was. My father was a Brooklyn builder, Brooklyn, Queens, and a great father, and I learned a lot from him. But I was given a fraction of that, a tiny fraction, and I built it into many, many billions of dollars, many, many billions. And when people see it, they are even surprised. So we don't have to talk about that. Fracking, she's been against it for 12 years. Defund the police, she's been against that forever. She gave all that stuff up very wrongly, very horribly, and everybody's laughing at it, okay? They're all laughing at it. She gave up at least 12 and probably 14 or 15 different policies. Like, she was big on defund the police. In Minnesota, she went out, wait a minute, I'm talking now.
Oh,
If you don't mind, please.
oh no.
He
that sound
tried
familiar?
and it fails.
She went out. She went out in
What
Minnesota
did she say?
and wanted to let criminals that killed
She said,
people,
"Go
that
ahead."
burned down Minneapolis.
Oh.
She went out and raised money to get them out of jail. She did things that nobody would ever think of. Now she wants to do transgender operations on illegal aliens that are in prison.
Wait,
This
what?
is a
Pause it.
radical left
Pause it.
liberal.
There you go.
That was a
See?
lot.
You see what I said?
She
You
wants to
see?
do what?
He wants to do transgender operation on illegal
On
immigrants that are
illegal
in jail.
in
immigrants.
prison.
What would be the point of
He hit
that? Like what?
every
No, there's so many
marker.
problems with it because he said that she wants to bring illegal immigrants into the country. He's the only one who's going to lock them up. She's not going to lock them up, but now she's going to be rounding up illegal immigrants and forcing transgender surgery on them while they're in prison on the taxpayers' dime. It's an amazing sentence. None of it makes any sense, not even in his world, you
You
know?
know all the
Yeah, it's
moderates watching
basically
this is
compounding.
like, what?
Yeah.
What?
He's just compounding fears, and for jackasses, it works, right? But
It's
it's
the
just like,
dementia.
what are you talking about? Yeah,
I
he's
honestly
like,
think that
he's-
was his dementia. He's angry, his brain isn't working right now, and he knew what he wanted to say, but he blended like 6 thoughts at once. You know what I mean?
Right, he
None of those words
compounded the
are
No,
supposed
fears.
to be.
he blended 6 arguments on
Yeah.
illegals,
Yes,
transgender. Like he
illegals.
just
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Illegals,
Now
transgender,
they're gonna let illegal
law and order.
transgender villain criminals teach your children. Like, wait, what?
All he had to do was add the fact that they're going to feed dogs to the illegal transgender people in prison. Like that's what they're going to do. Like that's there it is. I don't know how much further we can go with that, but that I feel like we just keep blending it and it's going to be that.
About forcing transgender operations on cats and dogs in prison after immigrants eat them.
That they,
That's right.
that
better.
they eat because they're gonna
Yeah.
eat the transgender the animals that they
Exactly. Oh my
you know?
God, guys. Oh my God, it's over.
What?
It's the end of the world.
They're figuring it out, man.
That would do this.
We're not gonna get through this whole thing. We'll probably do like another 15-20 minutes, and then maybe I don't know.
Oh, I got it.
just-
They're
you let me
forcing
know if you're free.
I got it. They're forcing transgender illegal immigrant gang members to eat dogs after birth. And that's what's happening.
Oh wow.
She wants to confiscate your gun.
After if they don't do right, they abort them.
Oh my God. Everybody be aware of those.
Though.
Yeah. Be aware of those 97-year abortions. Be aware, folks. Be aware of the
Indefinite
2000.
abortion.
Yeah. It's like, oh no, I had an abortion at 47 months. Oh my God. They're doing 47-month
And she will
abortions.
never allow fracking in Pennsylvania. If she won the election, fracking in Pennsylvania will end
Kamala
on day
aborted
one.
a
Just to finish one thing, so important in my
82-year-old baby,
opinion.
or however-
So I got the oil business going like nobody has ever done before. When they took over, they got rid of it, started getting rid of it, and the prices were going up the roof. They immediately let these guys go to where they were. I would have been 5 times, 4 times, 5 times higher because you're talking about 3.5 years ago. They got it up to where
Look
I
at
was
her
because they had
face.
no choice because the prices of
None of
energy
this makes
were
sense.
quadrupling and doubling. You saw what happened to gasoline. So they said, let's go back to Trump. But if she won the election, the day after that election, they'll go back to destroying our country and oil will be dead. Fossil fuel will be dead. We'll go back to windmills and we'll go back to solar where they need a whole desert to get some energy to come out. You ever see a solar plant? By the way, I'm a big fan of solar, but they take 400, 500 acres of desert
President
soil.
Trump, we have a
These
lot
are
of
not good
issues
things
that we
for the
have to get to.
environment that
We're
she
out of time.
understands.
Thank you.
Lindsay, thank you. We have an election in just 56 days. And I want to talk about the peaceful transfer of power, which, of course, we all know is a
Here we go.
cornerstone
This
of our
is a great
democracy
one.
and the role of a president in a moment of crisis. Mr. President, on January 6th, you told your supporters to march.
I guess that is a punishment. Come to the U.S. illegally as a man, be deported as a woman.
But you get a belly full of dogs, so it's a win-win. It's a win-win-win. Yay.
And it's grilled.
That chili con carne
Much to Kamala, you
hits
said
different
you'd
in
be right.
prison.
Tell the truth though, like if think about it though, if this spread throughout the cartel, yo, if they catch you in America, bro, they cut your dick off. Wait, what? Okay, no, I'm good. No, I don't want to traffic this anymore. I'm all right. What you mean? Nah, man, they cutting dicks off over there. I'm cool on that. I like my dick. Only people be going is
Right there.
motherfuckers that wanted to be transitioned. Well, I'll go.
Then they'll sign up for the cartel. You get a free surgery. That stuff is expensive.
The LGBTQ cartel of Venezuela is gonna invade us.
Venezuelans are sending their most dangerous cartel members. They got little bags full of like baking soda, and they just got give you for the free the free gender affirming care.
Surgery. That'll be the weirdest crime wave in history. Like, what the fuck is happening in the world?
Like, no, there's no murders, no nothing. They're literally just coming over here to get arrested at the border.
Got a pocket full of oregano. Yeah, got a pocket full of oregano. Officer, come get me. I'm ready.
That played out at the Capitol that day. The officers coming under attack. Aides in the West Wing say you watched it unfold on television off the Oval Office. You did send out tweets, but it was more than 2 hours before you sent out that video message telling your supporters to go home. Is there anything you regret about what you did on that day?
You just said a thing that isn't covered. Peacefully and patriotically. I said during my speech, not later on. Peacefully and patriotically. And nobody on the other side was killed. Ashley Babbitt was shot by an out-of-control police officer that should have never, ever shot her. It's a disgrace. But we didn't do this group of people that have been treated so badly. I ask, what about all the people that are pouring into our country and killing people that she allowed to pour in? She was the border czar. Remember that. She was the border czar. She doesn't want to be called the border czar because she's embarrassed by the border. In fact, she said at the beginning, I'm surprised you're not talking about the border yet. That's because
how is she the border czar if they're wide open, Trump?
None of it makes sense. None of it makes sense. And for him to bring up the woman who was killed on January 6th, she was a protester. She was breaking into the Capitol. It was an unfortunate situation. No one should have died that day. And no one should use those deaths as a platform to argue anything. You know what I mean? Like that. It's unfortunate. That woman she was disillusioned. She was in her own psychotic space. You know, she was believing the lies that were fed to her by Donald Trump, and she died in those beliefs. And that's unfortunate. But he doesn't care about her. He's using her as a token. She is a person. She's a mother. She was a daughter. She was a sister. You know, and he shouldn't be invoking her name in that way. And I just don't think it's right, even though I don't agree with her on her political views, obviously, but she's a human and she's not a token.
I mean, it's the problem with, you know.
Wait, hold on. He said nobody died at January 6th.
And then he said that she died. Yes.
Yep. Gotta love this guy. He doesn't know where he's going. Which timeline is he in? You know what I'm saying?
He just jumps him.
I mean, but if anybody just walked into the Capitol and pushed past the guards, what do you think is going to happen to them? Like, you can't be pro law and order, and then when law and order happens, you not have a problem with it.
Exactly.
She knows what a bad job they've done. What about those people? When are they going to be prosecuted? When are these people from countries all over the world, not just South America? They're coming in from all over the world, David, all over the world. And crime rates are down all over the world because of it. But when are those people going to be prosecuted? When are the people that burned down Minneapolis going to be prosecuted? Or in Seattle? They went into Seattle. They took over a big percentage of the city of Seattle. When are those people going to be prosecuted?
But let me just ask
you. You might ask her that question.
You were the president. You were watching it unfold on television. It's a very simple question as we move forward toward another election. Is there anything you regret about what you did on that day? Yes, sir.
I had nothing to do with that other than they asked me to make a speech. I showed up for a speech. I said, I think it's going to be big. I went to Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Washington, D.C., and the mayor put it back in writing, as you know.
Wait, pause.
I said, this is going to be...
being the president still shifting the blame on other people. Like, you were the president.
Yeah, I was about to. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, as a president, you're supposed to take. It's your ship at that point.
The buck stops with you.
The fact that you're not going down with your ship should tell people all they need to know about who you are as a president, and why you want to reelect this psycho is.
Yeah,
the mystery to me. Like, I don't get it.
He used all of those people. I don't know if you guys have heard about it, but there's the MAGA grandma. She was there on January 6th. She was arrested. She ended up getting probation for a year. She is now a very loud voice in those people who are coming out of their dissolution of the MAGA bullshit. And
Oh, I
she's been
did see
talking
that.
about it. And she's like,
Mhm.
I'm not a victim. I was a criminal. I committed a crime. I trespassed. And she talks about how it felt to be there and how
She took
in the
accountability.
moment, she took accountability. In the moment, she thought that she was doing the right thing. In the moment, she was fighting for her country. In the moment, she believed all of those things, just like everybody else there. Donald Trump used those people as tools for his destruction. And those people are victims of no one else but Donald Trump. Donald Trump is the perpetrator here, and they are victims of him.
To be a very big rally or whatever you want to call it. And again, it wasn't done by me. It was done by others. I said, I'd like to give you 10,000 National Guard or soldiers. They rejected me. Nancy Pelosi rejected me. It was just 2 weeks ago. Her daughter has a tape of her saying she is fully responsible for what happened. They want to get rid of that tape. It would have never happened if Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Washington did their jobs. I wasn't responsible for security. Nancy Pelosi was responsible. She didn't do her job.
The question was about you as president.
It was not Nancy Pelosi.
But I do want Vice President Harris to respond here.
I was at the Capitol on January 6th. I was the vice president-elect. I was also an acting senator. I was there. And on that day, the president of the United States incited a violent mob to attack our nation's capital, to desecrate our nation's capital. On that day, 140 law enforcement officers were injured, and some died. And understand, the former president has been indicted and impeached for exactly that reason. But this is not an isolated situation. Let's remember Charlottesville, where there was a mob of people carrying tiki torches, spewing anti-Semitic hate. And what did the president then at the time say? There were fine people on each side. Let's remember that when it came to the Proud Boys, a militia, the former president said, stand back and stand by. So for everyone watching who remembers what January 6th was, I say, we don't have to go back. Let's not go back. We're not going back. It's time to turn the page. And if that was a bridge too far for you, well, there is a place in our campaign for you to stand for country, to stand for our democracy, to stand for rule of law, and to end the chaos, and to end the approach that is about attacking the foundations of our democracy because you don't like the outcome. And be clear on that point. Donald Trump, the candidate, has said in this election there will be a bloodbath if this and the outcome of this election is not to his liking. Let's turn the page on this. Let's not go back. Let's chart a course for the future and not go backwards to the past.
Let me just follow up here.
It was a different term, and it was a term that related to energy because they have destroyed our energy business. That was where
it was a different term. It don't matter. Like that, it just means you're gonna pick it up where you left off. Like,
no, he's meaning that he was saying a different thing. He's saying that when I said it's going to be a bloodbath, I wasn't talking about the election. I was talking about electricity. Yeah, no, bitch, that's not what you were talking about. And he doesn't know how to use words properly. Words are hard. So it just comes out as stupidness. But that's exactly what he said. He said if he does not get back into office, it's going to be a bloodbath. He said if he's not elected and the votes are not counted, quote unquote, properly, correctly, there's going to be a bloodbath in America. That's what he said. And he promised that. We already saw what he was willing to do for January 6th with the Oath Keepers, with the Proud Boys. There are these militia groups who are so far gone. These are military trained militia groups. These are American veterans. They're waiting and they're disillusioned and they're confused and they've lost all hope in our government, and they've been sold on a lie that is literally coming from a man who can't sell steaks. We have to be afraid of this motherfucker. You know what I mean? It's great to laugh at him, but he is terrifying. What he represents is terrifying.
I think what's interesting about Trump is, like, I've never really been interested in like politics. I grew up, basically being told, regardless of who gets it, they don't, like, they ain't doing nothing for us. You know what I mean? Growing up, and it wasn't until I think like I'm gonna say Trump's presidency that I took any interest in politics, because it had become such a shit show, and I'm like, okay,
what's going on?
How did we get here? Right? Like, the fuck happened? And that was it for me. So it's like,
there's a lot of people who had the same sort of how do you call, like they distrust in politicians and government, but then they went the other way, which is the people that are, Trump appeals to. And when you see it, when you hear them talking, you're like, oh shit, this could be very dangerous. And if you fall
Exactly.
asleep at the wheel again, what happens when you wake up, right? We fell asleep, we
Exactly.
woke up to Roe v. Wade becoming a states' rights
Mm-hmm.
thing. We fall
Yep.
asleep again. When we wake up, what the fuck are we gonna wake up to?
Exactly. And it's sad. But like I said, there's so many people in our country who are easily persuaded by lies because they've lost hope in the way our government works, because
You know
Right.
they've
what?
lost hope,
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Yeah, all right, man. See, I guess it took me a minute because I wasn't. Now you trolling. You trolling in the chat because you wasn't saying that last time.
Oh,
Your
your mom?
mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
He's
fucking.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
you
is.
fucking trolling,
Yeah,
Grace.
he's
See,
Yeah.
this is
trolling.
why this is why I started clowning your fucking coon ass. You know what I'm saying? Because now you didn't come here for a fucking conversation like you did last time, talking about give me a fucking link. Now you backpedaling on the shit you were saying before. The
He's
fuck?
trolling.
Yeah.
Go somewhere
Is
else,
that
And
man.
even?
he
Is that it?
Go talk about FFG's chins or some shit. The
Is that
fuck
I
is
him?
know
Is
wrong
it's
that
with you?
hard
him?
to
Is
have
he
these
saying?
conversations. Well, I'm just saying, I know it's hard for some people to have these honest conversations because they make you uncomfortable, right? And your mama might
Yeah.
be one of those people, and it just makes you uncomfortable to have these conversations. Or maybe you're intimidated by how heavy these topics are. Whatever, cool beans. You could take it somewhere else, but I'm going to continue having the intelligent conversation
Well, I'm
and go back
sorry.
to what I
Yeah,
was
I just
talking
saw that.
about.
That pissed me
Right? Yeah.
off, man.
Yeah.
Like I
He
thought,
can.
like I literally thought he was being like, I thought he was being honest earlier. Because I mean,
I
even
knew
like
it
people
was
on
full of
Fox,
shit. I knew it
no,
was
but
full of
even
shit when he
people on
started.
Fox News were saying that the nigga lost. Like even they was like he fucked up. Like I was like, okay, maybe that was like,
No,
a
he
lot.
just
Don't get
came
me
in here
wrong,
to
people
love
on.
bomb and get a link. He just wanted a link
Yeah,
to derail the stream.
yeah,
And
Go,
that's all.
yo, Hussey's live right now. Go put your fucking wig on and go in there and say, "Oh my stars!" Like fuck out of
Yeah.
here. You know what I'm saying?
Go enjoy yourself,
Um,
sir.
Fucking weirdo.
Zuflu said Nova was like, "Oh wait, this is a shit show." Yeah, I mean, look, when
Mm-hmm.
Bush got the second win, I was like, "Okay, fuck this shit." Okay, but I never really cared to learn about it because I just looked at it like it was all bullshit. And then yeah,
Yeah.
when that happened, when Trump got it, I was like, okay, this is kind of interesting, and I need
Something.
to learn what I didn't know. That's kind of the way I looked at it. Your mama said, "Damn, I can't change my mind."
I
I
don't
think
know, man.
the
Like you was
question is
talking shit
whether or
about
not it's
Obama, and
on.
now all of a sudden Obama's amazing. Come on, bro.
I think
Like,
the
come
question
on.
is whether or not it was genuine. And I mean,
If you
personally,
being genuine, then my bad. But
Again,
I
don't
don't
give him
know.
any more lip service. We're back to the
Okay,
topic at
yeah,
hand.
all right, my bad,
I'm
my
I'm
bad.
not
Yeah,
too
you did
concerned
right.
about
My
it. He
bad.
lives in a state that is not really, it is what it is. Like
All right,
we need to.
whatever. If you being genuine, my bad. But if we find out later, then hey, whatever. I'm gonna shut up.
It's
I shouldn't have called you. I went back, pissed me off. He
calling
got me. He
names
got me this
again. Look.
time. God damn it.
bloodbath was. Also, on Charlottesville, that story has been, as you would say, debunked. Laura Ingraham, Sean Hannity, Jesse, all of these people, they covered it. If they go an extra sentence, they will see it was perfect. It was debunked in almost every newspaper, but they still bring it up, just like they bring 2025 up. They bring all of this stuff up. I ask you this, you talk about the Capitol. Why are we allowing these millions of people to come through on the southern border? How come she's not doing anything? And I'll tell you what I would do, and I would be very proud to do it. I would say we would both leave this debate right now. I'd like to see her go down to Washington, D.C. during this debate because we're wasting a lot of time. Go down to, because she's been so bad, it's so ridiculous. Go down to Washington, D.C. and let her sign a bill to close up the border because they have the right to do it. They don't need bills. They have the right to do it. The president of the United States, you'll get him out of bed. You'll wake him up at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. You'll say, come on down to the office. Let's sign a bill. If he signs a bill that the border is closed,
Nice
all he has to do
Biden.
is say it to the Border
Slight.
Patrol, who are phenomenal. If they do that, the border is closed.
Mr.
Those
President,
people are killing many people, unlike J6.
We talked immigration here tonight. I do want to focus on this next issue to both of you because it really brings us this into focus, truth in these times that we're living in. Mr. President, for 3.5 years after you lost the 2020 election, you repeatedly falsely claimed that you won, many times saying you won in a landslide. In the past couple of weeks leading up to this debate, you have said, quote, you lost by a whisker, that you, quote, didn't quite make it, that you came up a little bit short.
I said that?
Are you now acknowledging that you lost in 2020?
No, I don't acknowledge it at all.
But
I
you
said
did
that
say it.
sarcastically.
But
You know that. It was said, oh, we lost by a whisker. That was said sarcastically. Look,
There's so much proof. All you have to do is look at it. And they should have sent it back to the legislatures for approval. I got almost 75 million votes, the most votes any sitting president has ever gotten. I was told if I got 63, which was what I got in 2016, you can't be beaten. The election, people should never be thinking about an election as fraudulent. We need two things. We need walls. And we have to have it. We have to have borders. And we have to have good elections. Our elections are bad. And a lot of these illegal immigrants coming in, they're trying to get them to vote. They can't even speak English. They don't even know what country they're in practically. And these people are trying to get them to vote.
They don't know what country they're
But they're
in. What
voting,
country
though.
did they go to? Like, what do you mean they don't know what country they're in?
They don't know what country they're in. They're getting forced transgender surgeries. They're eating our dogs. They're bringing in, drugs. They're committing all of the crime. Like you can't do all the things, Trump. Like it doesn't make sense.
They're getting
They're
24-month-old
drugs,
abortions.
They're bringing crime. They're rapists. Are they rapists before or after the surgery?
Who knows? Maybe,
times,
both times. Yeah, who knows?
Holy shit. That's scary. You don't know what's going to get you.
Yeah, you never know.
That's probably those women trying to talk to Rev when he goes to the store.
No,
it's the transgender.
It's the LGBTQ Venezuela gangs trying to traffic Rev's baby carrot. Oh my God, no!
They're like, hola, papito.
And that's
He's like, no, look straight, look straight.
why they're allowing them to come into our country.
I did watch all of these pieces of video. I didn't detect the sarcasm, lost by a whisker. We didn't quite make it. And we should just point out here as clarification, and you know this, you and your allies, 60 cases in front of many judges, many of them
No judge looked at it.
And said
they said
no
we didn't have
widespread
standing.
fraud.
That's the other thing. They said we didn't have standing, a technicality. Can you imagine a system where a person in an election doesn't have standing? The president of the United States doesn't have standing. That's how we lost. If you look at the facts, and I'd love to have you'll do a special on it. I'll show you Georgia, and I'll show you Wisconsin, and I'll show you Pennsylvania, and I'll show you. We have so many facts and statistics. But you know what?
Mm-hmm. All right. I love that he brought Georgia up. There are recordings of you, Mr. Donald Trump, sir, literally begging Georgia representatives to find you votes. You are in court right now for falsifying information, sir, in that state. What are you talking about? If we take a look into it, you come out a criminal. You are a fucking criminal. Mm-hmm. You should not be that's like literally committing a crime and telling everybody, look, I got it on camera, just watch the crime. Okay, but hear me out. I need you to see what actually happened while we watch you rob the store. You fucking idiot. We know what you did. We know now. We have it.
Where's the money? I promise if you look underneath that third rock, you'll see the truth.
You'll see the
truth. Who blocked your mama? Nobody blocked your mama. Did somebody?
Oh, I did. Yeah, I did.
Oh, why you block him?
Only for 30 minutes. He can sit down.
Oh my God.
But that doesn't matter because we have to solve the problem that we have right now. That's old news. And the problem that we have right now is we have a nation in decline, and they have put it into decline. We have a nation that is dying, David.
Mr. President, thank you. Vice President Harris, you heard the president there tonight. He said he didn't say that he lost by a whisker. So he still believes he did not lose the election that was won by President Biden and yourself. But I do want to ask you about something that's come up in the last couple of days. This was a post from President Trump about this upcoming election just weeks away. He said, when I win, those people who cheated, and then he lists donors, voters, election officials, he says will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, which will include long-term prison sentences.
The government.
One of your campaign's top lawyers responded saying, we won't let Donald Trump intimidate us. We won't let him suppress the vote. Is that what you believe he's trying to do here?
Donald Trump was fired by 81 million people. So let's be clear about that. And clearly he is having a very
that hurt his feelings. You saw how that hurt his feelings?
But we cannot afford to have a president of the United States
that was good
who attempts, as he did in the past, to upend the will of the voters in a free and fair election. And I'm going to tell you that I have traveled the world as vice president of the United States, and world leaders are laughing at Donald Trump. I have talked with military leaders, some of whom worked with you, and they say you're a disgrace. And when you then talk in this way in a presidential debate and deny what over and over again are court cases you have lost because you did in fact lose that election, it leads one to believe that perhaps we do not have in the candidate to my right the temperament or the ability to not be confused about fact. That's deeply troubling, and the American people deserve better.
I'll give you 1 minute to respond, Mr.
Hey,
President.
let me just say about world leaders. Viktor Orban, one of the most respected men. They call him a strong man. He's a tough person, smart. Prime Minister of Hungary. They said, why is the whole world blowing up? 3 years ago, it wasn't. Why is it blowing up? He said, because you need Trump back as president. They were afraid of him. China was afraid, and I don't like to use the word afraid, but I'm just quoting him. China was afraid of him. North Korea was afraid of him. Look at what's going on with North Korea, by the way. He said Russia was afraid of him. I ended the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, and Biden put it back on day one, but he ended the XL pipeline. The XL pipeline in our country, he ended that. But he let the Russians build a pipeline going all over Europe and heading into Germany, the biggest pipeline in the world. Look, Viktor Orban said it. He said the most respected, most feared person is Donald Trump. We had no problems when Trump was president.
He loves
but when this
dictators.
weak, pathetic man that you saw at a debate just a few months ago, that if he weren't in that debate, he'd be running instead of her. She got no votes. He got 14 million votes. What you did, you talk about a threat to democracy. He got 14 million votes and they threw him out of office. And you know what? I'll give you a little secret.
Who threw him out of office?
He can't stand her. But he got 14 million votes. They threw him out. She got 0 votes. And when she ran, she was the first one to leave because she failed. And now she's running. I don't understand it, but I'm okay with it because
your time
I
is
think
up.
we're going to do very well.
Got a lot more to get to.
Turning now
Yes.
to the Israel-Hamas war and the hostages
All right,
who are still
pause it
being
right
held
there. You have to
Americans
come back
among them.
tomorrow.
Vice President Harris.
Because this is a good place to
Okay.
pick up tomorrow. Yeah.
Oh,
the
okay, good, good,
Israel-Hamas
good. So
is
we'll
a good
come back
place.
tomorrow.
Yeah,
Okay,
because then we
all
have
right,
the
so-
second half of it, and it gets really, really good. We're gonna see him crumble even more. But once we get into this Israel-Hamas, he loses his shit. So I think it's a good place to pick up tomorrow.
All right, so we'll
it's
pick this up
delicious.
tomorrow. Same time? You good with the same time?
Hell yeah, same time. Mhm.
All right. So
You know, I know
meet
I'm the
us
only
back
one
here
who got a real
tomorrow.
job.
Meet us back here tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern
Damn,
Standard
yes.
Time.
I might need. Y'all might have to do it another time, man. Shannon and Liz
Why?
are currently fighting right now.
Fighting right now?
Let's see.
That's so
Let's see what
tasty.
happens. I might be tired. I'm recording
Okay.
it, but I talked to some other people who are currently recording it as well. So I'm gonna
Okay.
keep mine just in case, because you got other people that rather not record it.
I kind of want to watch that. I'll wait for the
Oh, maybe we
recording.
could go earlier. Maybe we could go earlier. Me, Miss Parker, and then we'll figure it out.
Yeah,
All right,
figure it
y'all.
out, yeah.
We'll figure
Let's
it out.
see,
We're
because
gonna
this looks
play.
like it's gonna be a long one. Oh, they just ended it. Fuck. Oh no, they didn't. There, my bad.
He's like, fuck. I love when he does that. That's the only reason I watch his gaming streams, because he goes, fuck.
Yeah, I might do one today. No, they've been on for 2 hours, my guy. God damn. Well, I'm sure this is gonna be a good one, but I don't know if I have it on like 1.75, so
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
I'm sorry. Yeah. So whatever.
Yeah, pay attention to our community tabs, and if you're in the Discord,
Yes.
of course, it's always posted in Discord. And we're gonna play the song "Pussy Riot." Is this the one?
It's Pussy Riot is the name of the band, and the song I chose is a cover song of what's the name of that group?
Damn, that sounds like
Teen
the best
Spirit.
name. Pussy Riot. What
Yeah.
kind of riot is that?
They did a cover of Teen Spirit, and for those
Wait,
people who've never been introduced to them, this is a pretty good song to introduce them. I know BGTV is gonna love it. It is rock and roll, Nova, so fair warning. But I like it. It's really tasty. So
Okay.
An aromatic smell, the smell of children, the new growth, the new state of madness.
Bring your friends. It's fun to lose and to pretend she's overboard and self-assured. Oh no, I know. Dirty world. Hello, 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 hello. With the lights out, with left and right. Here we are now, entertainers, happy stupid, I'm contagious. Here we are now, entertainers.
one of them bitches get punched in the chin when they come
Yeah. Putin locked him up twice.
Yeah. I'm surprised
Yeah.
they're alive.
Yeah, they're from Russia, and they started making songs against Putin and tons of anti-Putin music. And
Like they'll
so,
go to the Capitol, they get butt
yep,
naked and stuff and write stuff on
Oh
themselves.
wow.
And I saw one
they
of the
fight
cops
for
literally
female
just
rights.
chin check one of them, just right in the chin, bro. I was like,
Jesus. All right, y'all. Have a good one. See ya.
Love you
Russians
guys.
be lifting logs and shit and taking it to their village. So I guess they can